A young man with blonde hair carries a girl in his arms, after which the lady says that this is enough, and the guy puts her on the floor, after which the young lady turns around and is already preparing to say goodbye, but suddenly the guy grabs her hand. After which he turns to his lady and comes closer and closer and also states that he wants to ask her for a favor. Then the blonde asks if she could call him the son of the cookie. Gulp, the girl is then shocked. Lady Leah Valdemar is the beautiful beloved of His Highness. Although she could rather be called a formal lover, and there were rumors that she had gone crazy, and there is some truth in this. And that's most likely because right now her body belongs to the infamous pirate known as Mad Rosetta. A little while ago, the blonde man turned to Rosetta and asked how long she had been waiting. The girl only said that this damn son of a cookie, Gulp, finally showed up. But he showed up quite late. But the young man replies that he did and asks to forgive him for this, but claims that he brought rum with him, after which the girl smiled and said that she would forgive him this time. At that time, the young lady could not even imagine that she would meet this cookie-guzzling son again under such strange circumstances. A little while later, the ship began to crash, and the girl screamed that the helmsman was a damn idiot. And also asked if he fell asleep there. This girl has a nickname, Scarlet Dawn, and her name is Rosetta. The lady is the captain of the ship Toulon. And now she screams how they even sniffed out that they would be there. The young lady also understands that everything was kept in the strictest confidence. But then she still remembers someone else and wonders if it's that bastard. The girl told Nick a little while ago that for now it is necessary to keep the mouth shut. But as soon as they pull off the deal, then she will buy him his own ship. Hey, how long have they been floundering together? The young man then smiled and said that she is not stingy with big words. After which the young lady answered that no, and she was serious because the time had come for him to become captain, to which the guy told the captain exactly that, only told her to take into account that his new ship should have at least 32 guns. Rosetta said with a smile on her face that she wanted to blow up, and they came to an agreement, and also said goodbye to this guy. But now the girl is thinking how she could even suspect Nick, and he would even jump into the fire to save her. Now the ship is shaking and the young lady falls onto the boxes, after which she groans in pain and realizes that she landed badly. But then the young lady sees someone else approaching and addressing her. Then the girl realizes that it is Nick. And in shock, he asks what he is doing there, but the young man replies that it no longer matters. After all, she will fall into eternal sleep anyway. Then the guy takes out some bottle from his jacket. And he says that he made a deal after all these people promised that they would defeat the rest of the Toulon crew if he got rid of Rosette. And the guy claims that he could only shrug his shoulders and say that pirates remain pirates. Now he only asks if the girl really was talking about a peaceful life of a pirate, and her ideals have earned them the wrath of the other captains, after which he opens the young lady's mouth. And he pours the contents of the jar into it, after which he tells the girl to plunge into eternal sleep for the sake of her own crew members. Rosetta then coughs and tells the guy to finally finish with her. The young lady realizes that she is not afraid of falling into eternal sleep. But that brat and naive, stupid little puppy, how could he survive without her? Suddenly, the girl wakes up and starts coughing and wonders if she has really gotten out of it. The maid at this time turns to the mistress and asks if she has really woken up. Then she goes somewhere and tells his lordship that the young lady has come to her senses. The main character wonders if she is really a mistress, after which she touches her bed and thinks about the rich sheets there. But it looks like she has ended up with the big shots. But if she has problems with someone so high-ranking, then all her affairs will go down the drain. The girl also does not understand why her body is so heavy. But then she wonders what happened to her voice and whether it was because she was on the verge of life or simply swallowed some seawater. At this time, a woman runs into the room and turns to Leah. Igor says how much the girl has suffered. And what a blessing that she woke up. The main character wonders who this woman is, and she is all covered in expensive jewelry. It features giant earrings that easily exceed 5 carats and elegant lace. Made by a first-class craftsman, the necklace is worth as much as a whole box of precious stones. Now the young lady only bows and thanks this woman, and also understands that she is obliged to suck up to her well. The young lady then claims that the gracious lady saved her life and asks how she can repay her for her kindness. The woman then asks what the darling is talking about, but the girl only apologizes. and also asks if the lady wants to say that she will not take payment from her, but how can she be so generous? However, when the young lady turns to the mirror, she sees that it is not her at all, after which he cries out who this girl is. The maid then turns to her lady and asks what is the matter. And her mother also asks if there is something wrong with the mirror. Rosetta wonders if it is really a mirror, after which she puts her hand on her forehead and tells them to just drown her. Now she is Lady Leah, Renew Valdemar, or more correctly Rosetta in Leah's body. So now the girl just screams, "What the hell is this?" A little while later, the girl asks if it is really the year 415 and not 411, to which the maid replies that yes. And also, from the moment the lady lost consciousness, 3 months have passed. Leah thinks that if this is the body of the lady from the house of Valdemar, so it turns out she is Leah Renew Valdemar and also one of the 2 daughters of the Duke's family. The girl is also the beloved of the Crown Prince, which practically makes her a self-confessor. Then the young lady also drinks water and understands that just think that such a girl fell into a coma for 3 months, and she bets her head that there was quite a noise. At this time, the maid turns to her mistress with a little concern, and she asks what she needs, after which the maid claims that it was water for washing her face, and the main character is immediately trampled. And then he apologizes completely, but the maid says that it is not worth it, and next time she will simply add rose petals. At this time, someone else addresses the lady, after which he enters the room and states that the Duke wishes her to be present at the dinner. The main character thinks how bad it is because she hasn't even figured out what's going on there, and it probably won't be difficult for the Duke to figure her out. After which the girl only says bad words and claims that she will be gutted like a fish. At this time, the butler runs out of the room and claims that he will wait for them outside, and the maid asks not to leave her alone. The main character understands that it is difficult for her to believe that in one moment she studied in another person's theater, and yet the current situation cannot be denied. Then the girl goes out onto the balcony and understands that the first thing she needs to do is get some information, but the maid at that very moment screams in shock to the mistress that no, and she shouldn't do that. The girl also wonders if the lady is trying to commit suicide again. And in that case, first she will have to put her into eternal sleep. Leah thinks, what is she doing? And the maid then screams at the mistress that even so, it will not return the prince's crown to her, and she herself must understand this. The main character then thinks whether this girl really wanted to end her life. A little while later, the maid is already helping the young lady get dressed, and when she looks at her reflection in the mirror, then she thinks that this body is simply charming, since she is also the daughter of a duke, and the girl wonders if someone like her really tried to plunge her into eternal sleep because of a failed love. But that means in the end she is just a dummy, and if we sum it up, then on that day, when the prince decided to break up with her, the girl followed him and drank a whole bottle of poison in front of his eyes. That's why now the main character sighs and claims that apparently this girl's character was not simple. She also understands that the only thing that connects her with this girl is the fact of falling into eternal sleep and exchanging bodies, so she thinks why everything turned out like this and is a little silent. But then the young lady is shocked and thinks what is happening to her body and what is happening to the soul of this girl. And since she hasn't shown up there for 4 years, doesn't that mean something happened to her? The sea witch Calypso probably knows the answer, and the girl thinks that if only she could meet her. At this time, the maid asks her mistress not to worry because she is probably worried that his lordship will be very angry. But he really has a very strict character, and he is also scary, not to mention hot-tempered, but the lady is his daughter, so everything will be fine. The main character is surprised at this time and asks if this really means anything, and in her thoughts, she adds that she will probably be executed. If they find out the truth, then everything will be like this, after which the girl understands that no, and she cannot allow this. It's not for nothing that they say that if you keep your cool, you can even escape from the jaws of a shark. And if they find out about her, they will execute her and burn her at the stake, which means that all she needs to do is behave like a noble lady. A little while later, the girl is already eating meat and says how delicious it is. He also understands that it is as if she got into a fairy tale. And she wonders if nobles really eat like this all the time, after which she realizes that she has eaten too much. But she immediately notices her parents sitting opposite her and thinks that she needs to observe her manners. At this time, the man claims that it seems that Leah liked the food, and the main character understands that she needs to behave like a lady. After which he replies that yes, and the meat is so tender, so it looks like they took it from a very young calf. The man claims that even when immersed in eternal sleep, a person cannot be remembered so strongly, and the girl seemed to have been replaced, after which the young lady became frightened and began to get nervous. The young lady's father continues to stare at her at this time, making her very nervous. And she also claims that, in fact, since she came to her senses only recently, her memories have not yet been fully restored. The woman then tells her dear one that too little time has passed and he shouldn't be so harsh. And the man says that in any case the social season will soon begin, and the young lady says that it is understandable, and her father claims that since her marriage with Prince Karen did not take place, he will find her another groom, to which the young lady agrees. The man then claims that starting next week she will be seeing candidates, to which the young lady merely smirks and claims that it sounds wonderful, but then suddenly falls silent. And in shock, he asks if he really means these things when a guy and a girl get together, and then the giggles start. The man then claims that a similar young lady needs to take all the etiquette lessons from scratch, but Madame Valmont will have a hard time. But the woman then turns to the deer and claims that Leah has not yet had time to fully recover. However, the man only puts tea on the table and cries out, "Does this really matter now?" After all, they were already overcome with humiliation when that lousy prince dared to annul the marriage, and if in addition to this, rumors were spread that she had gone crazy. But then the man sighs and claims that they just need to force her on some poor guy as soon as possible. Even though the crown prince rejected her, the girl is still the duke's daughter, and even without a dowry she will remain an excellent candidate. But one must not forget about the honor of the family. So as a dowry she is offered a diamond mine, and the main character is surprised by this, but he still understands that this is the same as selling his own daughter, and Leah is such a poor thing. But the girl still thinks whether this mine will be hers if she does not get engaged. Her father at this time claims that he gives her a month, and if the girl does not get engaged within a month, he will send her to a monastery for the rest of her life. Leah then gets shocked and wonders what he is talking about. His wife also says that her darling cannot do this. However, the man replies that, of course it can, because the monastery is a place from which there is no way back, so if she does not want such an outcome, object to something but does not even know what to say. The girl also thinks about the monastery, and the maid asks her lady not to worry so much. Leah understands that there will certainly be someone in the monastery who is capable of recognizing a soul, and that means that in the first case a noose awaits her, and in the second a stake. But the girl also thinks that she will not fall into eternal sleep so easily, after which he keeps screaming that all she needs to do is find some fool within a month, and then everything will be fine. The maid at this time says that her lady is so brave. At this time, several men are talking among themselves, and one of them asks if his friend has heard the news because Lady Valdemar has come to her senses. The other then says yes, and they say she is a little crazy, so the Duke offers a diamond mine as a dowry. One of them then asks if the girl is crazy with such a cute face, and what a pity it is. But then the other one claims that only this girl would be against seeing the face of this friend. Another of the guys then claims that the guy nevertheless held his ground well considering his status. It turns out to be Viscount Owen Canebrake, and this guy asks Cadriel if this is true. However, the guy does not answer, and the young man turns to him again, after which the blonde closes the book and apologizes, but still asks what he is talking about. This guy is the only Rear Admiral of the East and Lord Cadriel Monterosa. Another guy at this time claims that Lady Valdemar has started looking for a groom, and the dowry for her is something, but in any case he is going to court her. Another young man claims that they wondered if Cadriel was thinking about the same thing. After which they all fall silent, and the guy breaks the silence and also claims that he cannot say that this interests him at all. The other guy then asks like this and claims that his father still won't leave him alone, so he has no other choice, and the guy needs to rule the Eastern Seas, so the mines probably don't interest him. Then someone else claims that this girl is really very beautiful, but it seems that a pretty face alone is not enough for Cadriel, and in any case women are lining up for him, so it is unlikely that he will want to choose a lady with a defect. So if he decided not to participate, however, the guy immediately closes his book and says that this is enough of these conversations, And it is also obvious that any sighted person would especially choose him over any of them, so he can understand their zeal to remove him from the list of candidates. But to belittle a noble lady behind her back is simply disgusting. And he doesn't care about their dirty ambitions, so let them do as they see fit. One of the guys then smirks and asks if that's really true. The blonde then asks what he's talking about. And another guy claims that it turns out that his mother doesn't share his views. And the Duke's daughter had already received a marriage proposal in his name directly from the boy's mother. At this time, the main character lies down on her bed and thinks how cozy it is there. But maybe it's worth forgetting about the place and just enjoying this life. And she means that life is secure and a noble lady is not so bad. But then the young lady remembers how Nick said that it no longer matters, and that she will fall into eternal sleep anyway. And she understands that she must not forget herself because she needs to find it in the hold rat and also marinate it like a child and serve it for dinner. But first, a plan is needed, and the most important task is to find her body. The young lady also understands that after all, she was a rather famous pirate, and since there was no mention of her entering into eternal sleep, her body must still be alive. The girl thinks that in the search for the body, Calypso's help will be needed in order to return it to its true owner. And then she will throw that vile bastard to the sharks, but the young lady still thinks that if she is really not alive now, but he still understands that this cannot be. And the biggest problem now is that this girl is a simpleton without a penny in her pocket. And the young lady also thinks, what kind of noble girl is this who does not have a single precious stone? But in this body, she would rather plunge into eternal sleep from hunger than reach the eastern waters. The girl also thinks that such frequent disappointments will make it easy to kick the bucket. The young lady also thinks that maybe she could solve the problem within a month, but not with such weak stamina. After which, the girl also thinks that she will first find a suitable guy and get engaged. After which, he will all run away from there within 3 months. At this time, the maid turns to her lady and asks what she is doing. The main character gets a little scared by this, after which she claims that she is just standing there and wondering if something really happened. The maid claims that the lady's tutor has arrived, and the main character asks if she has already arrived. The girl also understands that it looks like she managed to fool the Duke too, but imitating such a person is easy as pie. And in the end, she is Rosetta and also the Scarlet Dawn that with her bare hands disabled dozens of ships, after which the girl understands that she needs to go forward, and with a song. But a little while later, she is already walking forward with a book on her head. Her tutor tells the girl to stand up straighter, after which he even tells the young lady to turn around, and when the girl does so, then the woman says no and she should be graceful and elegant again, a swan and not an octopus. At this time, Leah thinks that they should go to hell and let this Madame Volmont drink seawater. The woman then says that the lady is straining her neck too much and her tendons are even visible. And the main character thinks how this body can be so weak, and canaries in cages are more resilient. The woman at this time claims that it is excellent, and this time it turned out well. The young lady then rejoices and asks if she can now leave. Well, the teacher now only suggests removing it from her head, after which she tells the lady to straighten her back, and she also smiled, but the main character is only angry and thinks that let this woman smile at her ass. After which the young lady falls to the floor and thinks that she should be drowned because she is already very exhausted. The teacher then turns to the lady in surprise and then screams that the lady has lost consciousness. All the servants then begin to worry about the mistress, and one of them screams to call the doctor quickly. At this time, someone screams that the lady has probably fallen into a coma again and asks her to open her eyes. The main character thinks that it is good, and she will also pretend that it is so. A little while later, the girl already screams that she can't, but the maid replies that she can. But the young lady still insists that she really can't, and the maid replies that she can. The girl claims that this is nonsense and asks how, in her opinion, she should put on something like this, and only a 10-year-old girl can fit into it. But the maid claims that her lady had worn this corset before and that it was bigger than the previous one. However, the main character only gets angry after this and claims that she did say so. What is not going to wear is after which the maid gets scared and the girl understands that when she switches to this tone, even the pirates shudder and she should be softer, after which the main character apologizes and claims that she did not want to scare the girl. But at that very moment the maid shoves a thermometer into her mouth and asks her lady if she is sick. And her voice was very hoarse just now, after which the young lady also tells the maid to listen. After all, she is not the type of person to be treated like that. And then the maid asks if the mistress could now raise her hands. And the girl does this, after which the maid claims that everything is correct, and also understands that the lady's defense has weakened, after which he immediately puts this corset on her and tightens it with all his might. The main character only screams after this. And the maid tells the lady that it's not so bad, after which Leah tells the girl to wait. However, he says this so that the lady doesn't dramatize because she didn't even really feel sorry. But the young lady then says that she is serious, and the maid says that she will pull one more time, after which the main character completely realizes that she cannot breathe, and also falls to the floor, and the maid screams in shock to her lady. A little while later, the girl already opens her eyes, after which she realizes that this time she really lost consciousness and how weak this body is. Then the young lady gets up from the bed and the maid screams that her lady has finally woken up and claims that it is her fault, after which she asks to put her into eternal sleep because she deserves it. But the blonde then asks what she is talking about, and does she really want her to put her into eternal sleep, after which she says that the girl should remind her of her name. The maid immediately cries out that her name is Anna, and she begs her mistress to honor her. Well, the main character claims that she herself just prayed to be plunged into eternal sleep, and the girl with a shaking voice replies that she didn't mean that, and now claims that she is ready for anything. Leah understands that this girl is a little emotional, but at the same time devoted and diligent, and apparently she can spend 3 or even 6 months there. And it would also be nice to have at least one loyal servant, and now the young lady tells Anna that it is good, and also let her raise her head. And she shouldn't punish her even though the girl almost put her into eternal sleep, after which the main character understands that the easiest way to achieve obedience is to manipulate by pressing on weakness. The maid asks if this is true and thanks her lady, but says that it is not Anna at all. She must obey her in everything, to which the maid nods, and the lady then says that this is good. It is then that the fact that she almost strangled her will remain a secret. However, the maid then turns to her lady a little excitedly, and he claims that in fact this is no longer a secret, and she was unable to raise the lady alone, so now she only asks to be put into eternal sleep. But the girl screams that she will still start begging for mercy, to which she replies that yes, and almost cries. A little while later, the main character is already sitting in the living room or clicking her heels, after which the teacher tells her lady that this is no good, and also screams that this is the basis of behavior in the capital: dancing and speed reading. The girl is a complete failure in all subjects, and this is not a complete list. Well, the young lady then only asks what to do if her body has not yet fully recovered. The woman claims that she is leaving soon, and the lady has 3 days to meet with candidates, and at this rate her reputation as a brilliant tutor for noble ladies will be destroyed. Well, the woman says that her pride will naturally suffer too. The main character then thinks that it means she puts her honor in the former, after which she drinks the tea to the bottom and understands that she knows how to deal with this type of people. The girl then also wipes her mouth with her sleeve and turns to Madame Valmont and claims that she has a very personal question for her. The woman then tells the girl to ask it, and the young lady is only interested in how much his lordship pays her per week. The woman then asks what the lady is talking about, and she only claims that she is talking about the rate that her father pays for her lessons. And the young lady also asks if she could name the amount. The girl understands that it will take 1 month to carry out her plan, but despite the Duke's enormous fortune, she still needs a good source of money. And if this woman really cares about her reputation, she will definitely keep her mouth shut, so it looks like she will be able to squeeze a good amount out of her. The teacher then asks why the lady is suddenly interested in this, and she claims that she just had one idea, and she was already rejected by the prince once, and now rumors have started to spread that she has a problem with her head, and yet she dreams of spending her money doing all sorts of indecent things with her future fiancé. And the Duke will obviously be upset, and moreover, what will happen to the reputation of her dear tutor? The woman then asks what the young lady is getting at, and the girl replies that they can split her weekly pay in half. And if she agrees, then for the next 3 days, she swears that she will put in all her efforts in her classes. The woman then agrees, and the main character replies that this is a wise decision and asserts that she will conscientiously fulfill her part of the contract. But the woman claims that in exchange for this, the girl must adhere all her standards, otherwise she won't get a single coin. Leah replies that of course, and as long as the woman pays her, she will obediently obey her during classes. The girl also understands that if she calculated correctly, 60 gold coins would be enough for her for a month, and this is a very decent price, considering that she only needs to behave like a lady. Well, the woman then claims that since she is paid 180 coins a week, she will give the girl 90. And she also asks if the lady will keep her promise, to which the girl cries out that of course, and she wants to say that she is ready to swear by the honor of the Scarlet Dawn, but she still claims that she means the honor of the daughter of the House of Valdemar, and dramatic peace negotiations, and now the woman claims that since she is ready to swear by her honor, that's good. At that moment, the young lady's protective instincts began to scream about it, that she needs to run before it's too late, and the woman at this time claims that she advises the lady to mentally prepare herself. A little while later, the woman turns to her lady and asks if she has prepared well. After this, lessons on gait correction and speech correction begin. The woman says that the young lady should not chew the feather and should be more gentle. A little while later, they also conduct etiquette lessons, and the woman asks what kind of gift a girl can accept from a gentleman, and also what is the acceptable range of touching. A little while later, the girl only hears that she is a lady and this is no good, and she must repeat it again. A little while later, the main character is already sitting on a chair, and the maids are preening her. One of the maids then says that the lady is beautiful. The main character asks if this is true, and Anna replies that now with just one look at her, you can recognize the Duke's daughter. The girl also claims that, to tell the truth, when the lady first came to her senses, she was very worried, and it seemed to her that she had completely lost her manners. At this time, the main character is just hiding the jewelry, and the maid claims that she was just talking about manners. Then the young lady's mother also enters the room and asks if the girl is ready to greet her candidates. The girl then rises from her seat and greets her mother, which surprises the woman. And he claims that it is incredible, because in just 3 days, the girl has changed so much, and Madame Valmont has really done a good job. The woman then says that it is an honor for her to teach the young lady. The young lady's mother comes up to her at one point and states that it looks like she won't have to worry about meeting candidates now, and she is genuinely happy. Then the woman also approaches the wardrobe and says that now it's time to see if Leah has enough dresses. After all, they haven't ordered a large batch lately, so it's a whole month. She had to make do with what she had, and she thought it was time to order new ones. At this time, the main character turns to the teacher and then whispers to her to give the money faster. The woman then holds out a bag of coins, but the main character notices that there are 12 coins less, and he reports this. The teacher is surprised by this, and then claims that the lady is still far from her standards. The main character understands that she has already made good progress in her goals. Meanwhile, her mother tells the girl to come there, and also claims that she has already received so many marriage proposals, and she thinks that it will take about a month to meet with each candidate, and she is also not sure that they will have time to get to the archipelago by the beginning of the season. The main character is shocked and wonders if there are really so many invitations there, although she still understands that this is even for the best, because now it is very important to find a suitable victim, or better to say a lover. The richer the choice, the easier it is to find the right one. And the girl understands that she needs someone who is not particularly interested in this engagement and who does not have a sly look in his eyes. It is also important that this person lives in the East, or at least has a summer residence there. At this time, one of the maids turns to the young lady and states that the candidates have already arrived, and also asks whether to take them to the reception room. The young lady replies that yes, and the main character takes her dress and understands that it is time for war, and she needs to portray the perfect lady. A little while later, a maid named Anna. She understands that today is quite a busy day since potential suitors for her lady have arrived. The great fame of the young lady attracted a huge number of interested gentlemen. And when one of them comes out, the main character just sighs and says how stuffy it is. Oh, the maid understands that even despite the fact that the reputation of this alley has suffered greatly due to recent rumors about her illness, in fact, memory problems caused a lot of trouble, and even everyday conversations did not pass without incidents. At this time, the guy asks what the lady does in her free time and whether she has any hobbies, but the main character only smiles in response. The maid realizes that being better, she decided to intervene and called it Secret Operation Code. The guy at this time, he claims that he must notice again that the beautiful appearance of the lady is a real delight for the eyes, and the main character says that he is not flattering, after which she covers her mouth with a fan, and the maid understands that, for example, if the mistress covers her mouth with a fan in this way, this means that she doesn't like the candidate. The guy at this time claims that, by the way, he noticed a slight Eastern accent in her speech and asks if she traveled to that part of the empire. Leah smiles after this, and the maid understands that if the mistress has difficulty answering the interlocutor's question, she begins to giggle. Whenever there is a problem with the finer points of etiquette, she winks, and if she winks 3 times in a row, this means that the maid must immediately throw him out, after which the maid immediately approaches her lady. And he offers his deepest apologies but claims that the matter is urgent and the young lady must immediately meet with his lordship. The main character then asks if her father is calling her and asking what she should do. The guy replies that he asks not to worry about him, and since the Duke himself wants to see her, it means it is necessary. After which, he says goodbye to the lady, and the main character states that she hopes they will be able to organize a meeting next time, to which the guy replies that of course, and for him it was a great happiness. The young man also asks to be allowed to take his leave, after which he leaves, and Leah leans back on the sofa and asks Anna how many more of them there are. The maid says that her lady must be very tired. At this time, the young lady's mother tells her to sit up straight. The next candidate is definitely worth the girl's attention. Leah claims that she has said this for the 18th time. The maid is looking at the next candidate and is surprised. And he claims that it is Lord Monterosa. The woman then asks if even the Monterosa family is interested, and that is what one would expect from her daughter. The main character says yes and suggests that they quickly bring in this candidate, but she also understands that this last name seems familiar to her, after which the girl suddenly screams, "Is the maid really talking about those same Monterosas that she knew?" The maid asks for forgiveness and asks if there are several such families, and Leah replies that that's the problem, that there aren't. The girl also understands that if this is really the Monterosa she knew, this is the family that is cursed and feared by absolutely all pirates, and also this is the Eastern dynasty of admirals that has not lost a single naval battle in the last 15 years. There is only one suitable candidate in the Monterosa family, and that is Cadriel the brat who followed her, like a puppy, and if that's the case, then he would definitely suspect her. He was so devoted to her. But the young lady also thinks what will happen if she is found out, and the guy decides to help her. And she trusted Nick as a brother, but even he betrayed her, so you can't be sure that Cadriel will do otherwise. At this time, the maid looks out of the window and tells her lady that it is indeed Lord Monterosa, but he just got out of his carriage. The main character wonders if he has already arrived, but she didn't even have time to think about it. She also understands that if everything is so, then there is only one way out, but the maid claims that the guy went to the estate and her lady must get ready quickly. Well, the main character at that very moment runs out of the room and screams for them to say that she is sick. The girl also understands that for now she should avoid this guy because he cannot be trusted, and there is nothing more stupid than being betrayed by your own pet puppy. However, when the young lady wants to grab the door handle, suddenly someone opens it, and the girl, unable to keep her balance, begins to fall. Well, then the young man grabs her, which makes the young lady a little surprised, and the guy then asks if she is okay. The girl replies that yes, and understands that the guy is smelling of the sea and that it really is him. But she couldn't even imagine that he would grow up to be such a charming man, and she thinks that she will no longer be able to call him the son of a cookie eater. And yet the young lady understands that she cannot think about it, and at this time, the blonde turns to her and asks if everything is okay with her. The girl then asks for forgiveness and says that she is fine. And then the guy asks if she could move away, The girl then offers her deepest apologies. The young lady's mother at this time turns to Lord Monterosa and greets him and suggests that they first go inside. A little while later, they are already at the table and the main character is thinking how long this is all taking. She also looks at the servants who bring treats and wonders how long they will carry them. And then there was this tea, and the girls, it felt like they were going to keep this guy there as long as possible, but she still believes that he is a very valuable candidate, and she even feels sorry for all those guys who came there before him. But in his case, there is no need to even think about it because he looks like he is not the least bit interested in what is happening, and the young lady decides to quickly deal with him and get him out of there, after which the main character turns to Cadriel, but he only says that for her he is Lord Monterosa. Leah from this only gets angry and thinks what maybe costs to cut into him once, after which the girl says that it's good. And she also asks if he has any questions, and she asks him not to be shy and also to ask, but the young man replies that he doesn't, and he doesn't have any questions. Leah claims that they should be there, but the guy replies that they don't exist, and the girl says that then maybe he had them before, to which he replies that they didn't exist before either. The main character also thinks that this damn son of a cookie has always acted as if he was ready to love her for centuries, and the girl thinks what is the matter now, and also does he really not recognize her only because her appearance has changed? Well, the girl thinks that in fact it's even better this way because she was afraid that he would expose her, and she's ready to bet that even the sea goddesses themselves assumed that Nick could hide her, so how can she trust Cadriel? The girl also drinks her tea and thinks that let this guy continue in the same spirit, because if she is exposed, then either fun or a fire awaits her. Well then, the girl realizes that she drank this terrible tea and at that very moment spits it out and also screams that it is hot and swears. At this time, the maid turns to the mistress and screams for her to drink cold water. The young lady does just that after this and only says that they should simply drown her and that all of this should blow up. This makes the blonde very surprised, and then he even gets up from his seat. The main character then thinks, what is he doing? And the maid turns to the sweet lady and asks what they should do because her leg must be hurting a lot. Leah asks if she's talking about her leg, and she actually burned her tongue. However, the maid only winks and claims that if only a noble man could be found who would escort the mistress to her chambers. But what a pity that in the whole estate there are no servants strong enough to carry the young lady. Leah understands that the maid is trying very hard, but this guy will never agree. But he only claims that he will help the girl. The young lady then in shock thinks what the hell he agreed to, after which she realizes that she is finished. A little while later, the guy is already bringing the young lady to the stairs, and she claims that she thinks that's enough. And then she turns around, but the young man only grabs her hand and then turns to his lady. And approaching her, he asks if he can ask her about something, after which he becomes interested. Can a girl call him the cookie eater's son? Leah realizes she's been caught, and the guy at this time asks the lady if she really didn't hear him. The girl at this time thinks what to do, and he also wonders if she could first find out why he is asking her about this. Cadriel asks if there is a chance that she remembers him, and the girl says of course, and he is Lord Cadriel Monterosa, and they also met once at a banquet. Well, the guy asks if they've seen each other and somewhere else, after which the girl understands that this way he'll definitely figure her out. Therefore, she claims that she felt a bit dizzy, and to tell the truth, she has been feeling slightly dizzy since the morning. However, the blonde just stares at her, and the main character wonders why he's staring. And does he really not believe her? The girl then understands that it was not, and says his lordship and that he must understand that such an attitude towards a lady is unacceptable. However, the guy just keeps staring and Leah is already a little nervous. Well, suddenly the young man bows, and he says that she is right, so he offers his deepest apologies, and also if she does not need further help, then he will take his leave, to which the girl replies yes, and wishes him a successful trip. But when the guy leaves, he claims he forgot to say one more thing. Then he asks if the lady remembers about the relic of Kirot that she entrusted to him last time because he is afraid that he lost her. A little while later, the girl is already sitting at another interview with a potential groom. She understands that this bastard Cadriel obviously figured her out, but the girl still doesn't understand why he still hasn't contacted her because a week has already passed. The girl could no longer imagine the haughty look as if he were looking at his prey. And it seemed to her that he would be faithful to her until the very end, but now the girl is just silent. And then he gets angry and thinks how dare he mention the relic of Kirot, after which the girl breaks her fan and also claims that knowing she earlier what a scoundrel this guy is, who would never have been so kind to him. The maid is worried about the time and turns to the mistress. And she comes out of her thoughts and asks, what is it that changes after, and asks if he could repeat it. The maid claims that his lordship asked if the lady would mind accompanying him to a summer ball to be held at the Renoir residence on the archipelago. The main character asks if he is talking about the archipelago, to which the young man replies that yes, and as she already knows, the social season will start in 2 weeks, but she did not plan to miss such fun. The main character is then about to answer, but her mother makes a sound and then just shows with her fingers that she won't be able to miss it. And the young lady claims that of course she will participate, and is there any other choice, to which the guy replies that he would be immensely happy if she joined him, especially if Mrs. Leah will do him the honor of accompanying him to the ball. However, the young lady's mother at this time shows that this absolutely cannot happen. And the girl claims that first she needs to get her mother's approval because she cannot decide such issues on her own. After which, the guy says that, of course, and he will also wait for the young lady's answer. He also says that, by the way, 3 carriages, more than 100 hectares of land, 5 horses and 20 servants will also be waiting for an answer. Therefore, he asks to consider the proposals for so long. How many ladies consider it necessary, however? The main character thinks that Anna should already take him out of there. A little while later, the young lady's mother claims that she is glad that the girl decided to refuse this guy, and she cannot believe that her father wanted to approve the proposal of the Marquis's second son, because it even seems to her that he is not all right in the head. Well, she also says that this is not the point now because Leah can only watch because she has already received so many invitations. Picnics, exhibitions, balls, and boat rides make this season promise to be wonderful. Leah wonders if they really have to accept them all, to which the woman asks, what honey? After all, they will accept at least 5 times more invitations than they have now, because she already spoke about this earlier. The main character then claims that, to be honest, she is not sure that she has to go to the archipelago, and the girl thinks that there is already someone she would like to get engaged to. The young lady's mother at this time asks if this is true. And the girl after that just sits back on the sofa and sighs heavily. The young lady's mother at this time takes her hand, and she claims that she understands that the girl is worried because she was essentially the crown princess, and she could not imagine that she would have to debut in society like this. But the girl has no idea how much she was worried during her debut. Well, she did it, and she is sure that her daughter will cope even better than her. The main character understands that in this situation, she will have to accept all these invitations. After which it almost with tears in its eyes thanks its mother, and when the young lady leaves, the woman asks why she doesn't go and change into a dance outfit. After all, she hired a dance tutor, after which the main character agrees with her mother. And she says that she almost forgot, and that they told her that Leah really likes sapphire jewelry. She also thought that it would be nice to invite a merchant tomorrow to pick out something beautiful for her, for example, sapphire earrings. After which the main character says that it's wonderful, and she will immediately change into a dance outfit. A little while later, the girl is already changing into this outfit. One of the maids says that the lady is beautiful. After all, she is like an angel who came down to them from heaven. Leah then understands that this body is truly beautiful. And although this girl was beautiful because of some man she almost fell into eternal sleep, the girl also thinks that if she manages to return Leah's body, then she must definitely live happily without clinging to failed love. And she also understands that since Cadriel hasn't gotten in touch yet, it's entirely possible that he doesn't recognize her. And also the money is slowly dripping in, and everything is going smoothly, so she thinks that she has nothing to worry about, and she will cope, so she should forget about this idiot. But a little while later, she already sees the blonde and in shock asks why the hell he ended up there. At this time, the young lady's mother greets the guy and thanks him for coming all this way. The guy replies that it is a joy for him, and the woman claims that Leah has big gaps, so they are grateful that he responded so kindly. Yes, it is also difficult for them to find someone more reliable than him, after which the main character thinks what this means and who this guy thinks he is. The young man at this time bows to Lady Voldemort, and the girl a little excitedly addresses him in response. The young lady's mother leaves the room and wishes them a pleasant time, and the main character wonders where she is going. The blonde then turns to her and asks how far the lady has progressed in her waltz lessons. Leah is silent after this, and the guy turns to his lady and then does it again. Leah, he says yes, and she heard him, and also she had several classes before she lost her memory, but she forgot almost everything. The blonde then claims that in that case they will have to start from scratch, after which he extends his hand. The main character extends her hand to him in response, after which the guy brings her closer to him. And he says that his lady should remember this well because this is a basic position. Leah then thinks what kind of feeling this is, and also understands that there is nothing special about it. After all, this guy just caught her off guard, and she also thinks that her heart needs to calm down. And also you need to quickly pull yourself together because he is still the same cookie eater's son, and it would be better if he was anyone but him. 8 years ago in Bilty prison, someone screamed and started a fight. However, the main character immediately put this kid on the floor, after which she only claimed that all these weaklings were wasting her time. Then she went further and realized that it was worth moving forward to find the goal. Then the girl moved on, and looking at the cells, she realized that it was not here. After which, she saw one of the cells in the corner and approached it. The girl addressed the little Admiral. She also asked if he had yet fallen into eternal sleep, but the Admiral would only pay her if she brought him back alive. The young man then asked if she was talking about his father, and the main character claimed that she expected to see the little Admiral. But he is so cute, Leah understands that he was exactly like that time, but the girl still doesn't understand why she now feels so awkward, after which she finally understands that she needs to pull herself together and not let herself be manipulated. Then they continue dancing, and the young lady realizes that these activities are not so bad. The blonde says she's doing better than he expected, and he was worried because the lady had lost her memory. But the girl replies that yes, and yet it seems the body still remembers the movements. Cadriel then asks the lady, is she really offended by him? And the girl is just wondering if he really decided to play the fool. He also claims that the last time he left a bad impression, Cadriel asks if it was really that bad, but the girl only asks if he doesn't remember, and the guy told her to move away as if she were some kind of leech. Now the girl gets mad at the mere thought of it. After which she claims that this is why she thought that Lord Monterosa despises her. Well, the guy replies that he does not despise her, and yet the girl claims that such a forced answer hardly means that he likes her. The guy then claims that sometimes when he looks at the lady, he remembers his old acquaintance. Leah asks what he means by this, and the young man replies that he even begins to doubt his sanity. But he is sure of one thing, and the lady is incredibly interesting to him. The guy also hints at her pirate raids. Their main character is shocked. A little while later, the girl is already sitting with her teacher and thinking, did that guy at the slap really understand who she is? Maybe he intends to collect dirt on her and report it. The woman at this time claims that well-mannered ladies do not kick their legs like that. And the girl screams that she should be drowned and also wonders why there are so many rules. The woman then asks her lady what kind of vulgar expression that is, but she will have to pay another fine. Leah then only faces and hands over the money. The woman then claims that the lady has made great progress since their meeting, to which the girl agrees, but the teacher claims that her manner of speech is a separate conversation, and sometimes it seems that she is a port hooligan, to which the young lady also agrees, and the woman claims that speaking about the manner of noble speech, the polite phrase, if you don't mind, would greatly transform her speech, and she also suggests that the girl stop simply nodding along. After which he asks, why not try? The main character is not thrilled about this, but still with a smile on his face, he asks the lady that if she doesn't mind, he hopes that she will kick the bucket soon. The woman then only cries out in displeasure. The next day, the main character dances with the blonde again, and when they finish, the guy claims that today is their last lesson. The girl then asks with a smile on her face if it is true, and he asks if she can find out the reason, to which the young man replies that in 2 days she is leaving for the archipelago. And he asks if this is true, to which the young lady replies that yes, and the blonde then comes closer to her, and he claims that the first ball will be held at the Renoir residence, to which the girl replies that yes, and she believes that it will be so. And the guy asks if she would do him the honor of accompanying him to that ball. The girl is a little surprised by this and asks what he is talking about. The young man replies that he asked if she would like to keep him company, after which the girl gets scared and also thinks that it must be a trap, and even if not, she still cannot agree. After all, rumors that Leah had gone crazy had already managed to fly around the entire high society, and if Cadriel were dragged into it, too much attention would be paid to her, and then her capture would only be a matter of time. Therefore, the girl understands that she will not agree under any circumstances and claims that she has already promised another person to keep him company if he wants. After which, the blonde asks who it could be, and the young lady tries to remember at least one candidate. And she claims that this is a lord from the family of the Marquis of Bingley, and also at the end of the sentence she says that if he pleases, the guy asks if she means Lord Binsley, and the girl replies that yes, she will go to the ball with him. Planet then says that it is clear and asks to be allowed to take his leave. Leah asks if he is leaving already and adds if you like, to which the young man replies yes. Well, he asks why his lady inserts if you like into every sentence, to which the girl replies that it is a secret and adds if he wishes, but in her thoughts, she thinks that she would throw Madame Valmont overboard. At this time, the guy says that it is clear, and by the way, he wanted to give her one piece of advice. The main character asks what kind of advice this is and whether he is really going to threaten her, and the guy claims that he only taught her a waltz that will only be played at the opening of the ball, so it would be better for her not to participate in any further dances no matter who invites her. And the nobles may find it rather strange that she doesn't know any other dance, after which the guy also says that they will meet again on the archipelago, and he leaves. A little while later, the young lady is already heading in a carriage, and the maid turns to her, and he tells his lady that on the archipelago she will need to be even more strict about her manners. After all, in dense society, rumors spread quickly and talk about her will quickly fly around in social circles, so she needs to be careful with every little move, to which the young lady says that she will do so. But she still thinks what the hell that bastard was planning, and since he figured her out, why didn't he just ask her directly, and why complicate everything so much? Now the main character claims that if he does not intend to set her up, then she thinks that it is worth asking him openly. She also understands that this boy probably knows where her body is and he could help. But the girl also remembers that incident with Nick and realizes that just think how he has changed. After all, this is no longer the same puppy that was next to her 4 years ago, so now the girl is thinking about what to do. She also understands that it would be nice to meet that informant, after which she completely closes her eyes. And he understands that if she heads east, the first thing she will do is start looking for him. At this time, the girl begins to have a dream about how she washed herself in the river. Then she noticed someone's presence and told that person to show himself, and also asked if he was not coming out and if he wanted to plunge into eternal sleep, after which the young man came out from around the corner a little excitedly, and the young lady asked why this brat was still following her. The guy replied that he liked her and wanted to marry her, after which the young lady simply said that he was a damn psycho. But the young man insisted that he would really try, after which the young lady told him to come there. And she offered to evaluate this guy, after which she pulled him close to her. Well, the young man just looked away, and the main character asked what good he was, if he couldn't even maintain eye contact. Well, the guy then asked if he said that he was good at it, and that she shouldn't have been so frivolous. Open your back, after which he fired a revolver. The girl wakes up from the fact that the maid is calling her, and also says that the lady should take a look. The main character at this time wakes up from sleep and thinks why she had such a terrible dream, after which she wonders if they have already arrived, but the maid only suggests that the mistress look out the window. After all, as soon as they cross the gates, they will already be in the archipelago, after which the girl looks at all the luxury there. And she also claims that this is indeed that famous archipelago, and now she is there. The girl always told those scoundrels from Toulon about this archipelago, and to think that an Eastern bilge rat was going to the archipelago in a luxurious carriage, but the life of the devil is unpredictable. At this time, the maid tells the lady that they will soon be there, so she asks her to be ready too, which the girl agrees and gets up. Well, the maid tells her to wait, after which she takes a beautiful hat and puts it on the mistress, and also asks her to remember that every little movement is important to what the young lady agrees to. And she also understands that Anna is right because she needs to be careful, and only then will she be able to find a groom and then calmly move to the east. The girl also understands that she needs to forget about this Cadriel and he will not become a hindrance to her. Leah thought that if she was just careful, everything would work out exactly until that moment. A little while later, the main character already asks what the maid is talking about, after which they ask her to repeat and wonder if Lord Binsley refused. She replies that yes, and not only he, all the other lords too. It was as if everyone had conspired at once, and one said he was sick, and another suddenly had a partner, and so on. They all refuse to accompany the lady. The main character then gets angry and thinks about these little idiots. A little while later, she already throws the knife up and then deftly grabs it. And he hammers it into the table and also turns to the guy with a sweet smile and asks, "Can she find out why?" The guy then asks if the lady sees that some circumstances oblige him to refuse. The young lady then pulls out this knife, and the guy screams that it's all because something very serious happened. And he can't influence this in any way, but at that very moment this knife flies near the guy's feet. And the young lady asks what this something is, after which the guy screams that in truth he met Lord Monterosa. The guy also remembers how he was just walking down the street, but then a blonde guy came up to him and asked if his name was Binsley. The blue-haired boy turned around and asked who it was. But Cadriel only asked if this meant that he would accompany Lady Voldemort. And now the young man claims that he had no choice but to retreat. The main character is angry in her thoughts, but still thanks the guy for letting her know that now he is free. The young man then asks to be allowed to deviate and then runs away. Well, the young lady turns to him. And he says that if he blabs about today's conversation, then he himself understands what will happen, after which the young man only gets scared. And the main character understands that the brat Cadriel did recognize her, and that means she just needs to tell him everything. The girl decides to explain the situation to him and then ask for help so that he can take her to the east. And then he will probably agree, but the girl is already beginning to imagine how the guy will scream that he knew it and also order her to be tied up with ropes. Leah still understands that no, and he won't agree so easily because if the guy were such a person, he would have come running to her a long time ago. After which the young lady doesn't even know what to do and thinks that maybe she should just get engaged to at least someone who agrees and run away from there. But the girl already imagines this man and thinks that Leah does not deserve such a fate. After which the young lady gets up from her seat and thinks that who cares, because she's just going to go and talk to this guy. Enters the room at the moment when her mistress rises from her chair. The main character asks if they just synchronized, and the maid replies that she wanted to say the same thing, after which she suggests hurrying up and getting her in order. Because Lord Monterosa calls them, and the girl understands what it means that she has synchronized with Cadriel. While the maid is carrying flowers to decorate the room, the young lady's mother is putting a necklace on the girl. After which he says that it is perfect, and one of the maids reports that the Lord has already arrived. Then the boy enters the room with a large bouquet of flowers. The young lady's mother greets the Lord at this time. And he asks for forgiveness for such a sudden visit, after which the woman says that it's not worth it, and also claims that he will leave them alone. The main character then asks if she is at it again. She also claims that she has developed a habit of leaving her alone with this man. The guy at this time turns to the lady and asks if she likes flowers. Leah then takes these flowers. Well, she still understands that she needs to get it together and claims that flowers are flowers and also suggests that he better answer why he did it. The guy then asks what exactly she means, and the girl asks for what purpose he intervened. The blonde then wonders if she really meant this, since he only advised those people to find young ladies of their level. After all, none of them are worthy of her. After this, Leah only gets angry and throws the bouquet on the floor, and also screams out how this concerns him and who she should now choose as a partner. The girl is breathing heavily and getting angry, and the young man claims that he would like to say this. But he wonders why they can't do without formalities, because this is Leah. She began to distance herself from him over time. The girl then asks if she really did it, and the guy replies that it was exactly like that. However, Leah says that they have a big age difference, to which the guy replies that everything is exactly like that. But he wonders if it's that important for both of them. The girl then asks him to stop distracting her. She also claims that she tried to protest against him interfering in the affairs of her potential partners. To which the blonde says that even if it was done, this was only for the benefit of his old friend, and to tell the truth she was always a little naive. And instead she should ask him for an escort, but the young lady only smirks. And she asks if this is really why he arranged all this, because she would have preferred anyone but him. After this, the blonde only turns to Leah once more and claims that 4 years ago he lost something very valuable. The young lady asks if it concerns her in any way, to which the guy replies that of course it does. After all, what he lost is with her, and the young man holds out some kind of thing. The main character then asks what he is doing, and the blonde just asks to let her hand in. The main character does just that, then relaxes her shoulder and takes the thing. The guy is surprised by this and claims that a long time ago he knew a girl who injured her right arm, and because of this she relaxed her right shoulder every time she had to pick up something heavy, just like Lady Leah now. The young man only smiles after that, and the main character is silent. After which the guy asks if Leah knows that there was nothing on the archipelago that would seem strange to him, so he will ask for the last time if she will allow herself to be invited. A little while later, the maid is already preparing her mistress, and she thinks that she feels sorry for Leah, and apparently she won't be able to return her body. After which the girl lies down on the table. The maid then turns to her lady and asks her to hold her head up, and so he will be accepted alive, after which another maid brings the decorations and asks, "What necklace does the lady prefer?" After which Anna understands that this is ideal, and these necklaces will definitely help her to perk up her spirit. Well, the main character just sighs and tells them to wear whatever they want, after which the maid is shocked and wonders if even that didn't help. She is concerned about her lady and claims to know that she is not delighted with Lord Cadriel. Well, he still asks her to cheer up, because who knows what will happen, and maybe today she will meet her destiny. After which the maid also claims that her lady looks great, and the girl only wonders if she said anything about fate. After which she realizes that she doesn't know what that scoundrel Cadriel is planning, but she will never give up. And today, everything will be decided, because she will reveal her true identity to him. A little while later, the young lady's mother talks to the Lord, after which she finally sees her daughter and admires her appearance. The Lord also turns around, and he sees a girl in beautiful clothes. He also claims that his lady looks simply magical, but the main character thinks what a liar he is. The girl's mother clears her throat at this time, and he claims that this is Leah's first time at such an event, so she must be very nervous, and the woman asks to be understanding about this, to which the guy replies that of course, and he didn't find it disrespectful at all. But the girl thinks that he is lying again because the guy speaks flatteringly, and there is ice in his eyes. And she still remembers how the guy looked at her before, because his eyes were a deep sky color and looked with a look filled with adoration. The young man said how beautiful Ro was, and he liked absolutely everything she did. The girl also understands that these were emotions boiling like lava, and she also knows everything about this guy. So no matter what he said while looking at her so coldly, nothing would shake her determination. At this time, the young man extends his hand and asks to be allowed to accompany Lady Leah. The main character gives him her hand, after which the guy pulls her towards him, and he asks who she would give her hand to if not him. The main character only smirks after this, and also wonders if the guy is really looking down on her. But let him not forget that her name was Scarlet Dawn, so the girl says that everything would not make sense if it were not Lord Cadriel, and the girl also understands that she is not going to sit idle any longer, because two can play this game. A little while later, someone reports that Her Grace Lady Leah Valdemar and His Grace Lord Cadriel Monterosa has arrived.
The other aristocrats begin to whisper and ask if this is really the same Lady Valdemar. After all, she was engaged to the Crown Prince.
Only 3 months have passed, and now she is already in the Lord's circle, so the ladies say what a scandal this is. The main character realizes that they attracted even more attention than she expected, and there are no people like Calypso there. The blonde at this time tells the lady to just be patient for a little while. After all, after the first dance, they will forget about them, and then he thinks that the lady will have a moment to slip away. So he suggests trying to stay in the shadows, to which the girl replies that this is a great plan. A little while later, the music begins to play, and Lord Monterosa invites Lady Leah to dance. While the musicians are playing the melody, the two are dancing. The young lady then turns to Cadriel. and she claims that she would like to ask something, but at that moment the guy lifts her up, and he asks what she wanted to ask. The young man then puts it back, and the girl claims that he mentioned a certain thing, which according to him is with her, after which the girl asks what he will do if he finds her. The blonde is only surprised after this and squeezes the lady's hand a little, but when he is about to say something, then someone else turns to them and claims that it seems the lady is really angry with him. After all, Lady Valdemar didn't even come up to say hello. At this point, everyone in the room starts whispering. And the main character thinks who else it is and is interested in who this guy is. She also remembers the endless list of gentlemen who were introduced to her and wonders which one of them is he. At this time, the blonde expresses his respect to His Highness, and the main character is surprised. And she also wonders if this is the Crown Prince, after which she lifts the hem of her dress and also expresses her respect to His Highness. The guy then asks if it is true that she has lost her memory, to which the girl replies that it is true, and also apologizes for the fact that she did not immediately recognize His Highness. Leah also thinks that it would be better if she didn't see him for another 100 years, after which the guy smirks and asks where his manners are and also introduces his bride. The girl then greets them, and she claims that her name is Audrey. Leah is also going to introduce herself, but then she wonders if the guy really decided to make fun of her, and also to put on a show by introducing the new bride to the ex, after which the girl smirks and thinks that since he wants it so much, then they can play, and also they will see who will win. And in the thoughts of the young lady, she apologizes to Madame Valmont, and also asks to be allowed to introduce his companion, the Lord Cadriel Monterosa. The main character then squeezes his hand with a smile on her face, and the guy just smiles. And he puts his hand on hers, after which he turns to His Highness and asks if he really has some business with his companion. The prince claims that there is no need for such rude words, since he only came to ask about her grace. The Lord then asks what this means, and His Highness replies that he was so worried. After all, the girl still tried to plunge into eternal sleep, and all because he fell in love with another. After these words, the young lady's patience breaks, and she thinks to the sharks as food, after which she wants to curse him. But the blonde shuts her mouth and claims that he will take care of his companion's health himself. So if he asks about it again, the whole kingdom will hear about their duel. After which the guy bows and asks to be allowed to leave, and then leaves. The prince at this time only watches them go with a smile. And when these two finally enter the corridor, the guy opens the young lady's mouth, and he claims that he told her not to attract attention, but the girl asks what she did. After all, it's all that impudent prince? But the blonde just pokes her in the forehead and tells the girl to think about what she's saying. The young lady looks at the guy and thinks how handsome he is, but then shakes her head and thinks that everything is wrong.
And someone else approaches them and asks how he can live without his beautiful companion.
At this time, the main character is thinking what this idiot is doing there, but he only claims that the Lord looks gorgeous, to which the blonde tells the guy to leave, and the young lady is surprised and thinks that this is her informant, after which she turns to him by the name of Turner, from which the young man is very surprised and turns around. The girl then suddenly understands that he definitely introduced himself with a fictitious name, which means that Leah shouldn't know about it. At this time, the blonde asks what she called Turner, and the young lady affirms it, that this drink is called Turner, and asks if that is not true, because she always really liked this drink. That's why she thinks that she was too happy, and the girl looks at the guy and in her thoughts asks him to believe, but he understands that he doesn't believe her at all. At this time, the blonde insists that this drink is definitely not called Turner, but he can try to find it for her, after which the guy also turns to Owen and also tells him to keep the lady company, to which the guy agrees. At one point, the main character grabs the blonde man by the sleeve and looks at him with a pitiful look, as if asking not to leave her. The blonde is a little surprised by this, but then whispers so that the girl does not worry. After all, this guy is not dangerous, but the main character understands that now there is no one more dangerous for her than him. Valdemar, if she wants to talk a little while later, they are sitting at the table, and the girl asks if he is Owen Canebrake, to which the guy tells the lady that yes, and the main character understands that she is doomed and that this is the end for her. The young lady claims that she is honored to meet him, and thinks that if this guy is a viscount, so why the hell is he working as an informant? But if you think about it, he always seemed suspicious to her. After all, the guy rarely got involved with aristocrats, but they always paid generously, and he looked too good for a simple informant. So the girl thinks, how could she be so blind? And if this guy guessed, then he would definitely hand her over to the authorities for hard cash. Turner knew such information, that there was literally a line of people wanting to buy her. But then, the girl suddenly thinks that if it's really him, then that means this guy might know where her body is. However, the girl also thinks about how to ask such a question without seeming suspicious. The guy at this time turns to the lady and claims that she looks worried. Well, the girl thinks that he knows everything for sure, after which she just smiles and asks if that's really true. The guy then puts down his glass and asks what she is so worried about if she is still looking for a groom. Then he will have to disappoint her because Cadriel rarely gives in. The girl then understands that she knows without him because of him she can't even find anyone else. And this means that she needs Owen more than ever. But the girl is still thinking what to tell her and whether she should really ask where the Scarlet Dawn is. And they say that she fell into eternal sleep. But this is not true, after which the girl thinks, how can one even ask about such a thing? Then the young lady drinks her wine in one gulp but spits it out at the same moment. The Viscount then asks Milady what happened, but the young lady only wonders what it is. And he also claims that it is so bitter, and the young lady in shock asks if she really got drunk from one glass, after which the Viscount approaches her and asks if she is okay, but the girl is already knocked out, after which the young lady keeps coughing, and Owen claims that he thinks she should rest for more. But before he can finish his sentence, the girl immediately stands up and addresses him as Terranru. The young man wonders how the lady learned about this name, and the girl asks if he is really that interested. And if he wants to know, then let him tell her about the Scarlet Dawn because she will pay him generously. The lady in surprise and asks how a girl from the archipelago can know about Tokoe. Leah asks if he is interested, and the guy asks if it is really her. The girl then gets tense and thinks what he will say next. And the guy asks if she found out about Cadriel's past, to which the girl replies that yes. After which the young man claims that it means she already knows that Rosetta was his first love, and that Milady is an excellent detective. The girl then simply hands the guy a bag of jewelry and asks if this is enough as payment for his services. When the young man opens this bag, he sees there the jewelry that the girl took from Leah's wardrobe during her stay in the Valdemora house. After which the guy smiles and also claims that he will be happy to serve the lady. A little while later, the girl already approaches the edge of the site, and when she closes her eyes, then she realizes that she hears the sound of the sea. At this time, the girl hears someone else approaching from behind. And there is a lord who says that this is where the lady is. He is breathing heavily and claims that he was looking for her. The main character looks at the guy and asks if he was really looking for her and why, after which the young man claims that he was afraid that she would disappear again, and calls the young lady Rosetta and also his Rose. A little while ago, the guy was heading with his glasses, but at that very moment, someone turned to him and asked for permission to introduce someone to the Lord. One of the women then asked if the Lord knew her daughter and would not refuse to leaf through her lovely girl. The man then only nodded, but did not even listen to what they were asking, and looked at the young lady. And he also thought about what they were still chatting about, but anyway, the guy remembered her words about that he mentioned a certain thing that according to him she had, and the girl was also interested. What will he do if he finds her? And the guy realizes that this was a confession that she is Rosetta. The young man also remembers how the girl at their first meeting said that she would be damned and cursed for this whole idiotic undertaking. Cadriel, I thought that I would go crazy from longing for her, but the more they met, the more clearly he understood that it was she and her manner of speech as well as her facial expression and all her habits remained with her. The guy also remembers how the girl talked about her shoulder and claimed that it had become better, but she tries not to bother him unnecessarily. And his suspicions were confirmed, but the girl continued to distance herself and avoid answering. And the melancholy turned into rage, so the guy wonders why she is lying to him and why she is silent. But if only he could let her go, the prince might guess her true nature, and then the girl can disappear, after which the guy realizes that the very thought that he can lose her terrifies him. So he promises that he will protect her no matter what it costs him. Well, and when the guy looks again at the place where the young lady should be sitting, then he sees that she is no longer there, and the guy then begins to worry and also thinks that he will not lose her again. At this time, one of the girls grabs the lord and asks where he is. The guy only breaks away after that. And he also tells the girl to let him go and understands that even if he has to give up his title and wealth, he will protect her. So now the young man turns to Rosetta and the main character understands that this is her chance, and she just needs to confess and ask this guy for help, after which the girl also thinks whether she really decided that he could betray her. After all, anyone in this world would do it, but not him. However, then the girl's thoughts come to mind about how she doesn't know what he's really like. There would be no happier person than him if the girl confessed, and with his help it would be much easier to take revenge on Nick. But now the young lady understands that she needs to pull herself together and also understands that no matter what happened, she had no right to do this to him. Someday he would become the best admiral in the country. And he will have a brilliant future. And also a beautiful wife nearby, and the girl knows that one request from her, and he will reject all this. And he will also go with her to the bottom of the salty sea, and she is not a drop, and there is no doubt. Well, the young lady understands that she shouldn't do this, and apparently she will have to leave him. After which the girl asks if he doesn't even remember her name looking into his eyes. She understands that he still has the same pure and bright as sunlight gaze. After this, the guy just smiles bitterly, and the girl claims that she is not that drunk compared to him. Near which the young man answers that yes, and gives her a lock of hair and also claims that probably he did get drunk after all. A little while later, the maid turns to the lady and claims that tea will ease her suffering. The main character wonders how she got home yesterday, and the maid asks if she remembers because the lady couldn't even walk, and Lord Cadriel behaved like a true gentleman and personally brought her home in a carriage. The main character then asks if she is talking about the Lord, to which she replies that yes, and the Duchess was so happy. Leah asks why Mother was happy, and the maid wonders if the mistress really doesn't understand. And now all that's left for her to do is send out an invitation to her wedding, after which the main character is trampled by tea, and he screams why they decided that they were going to get married, but the maid then tells her lady, who else but them knows what exactly happened last night that is causing the young lady to go into shock. Anna then claims that the lady knows that the road from the residence to the estate takes 2 hours, and when the Duchess asked the Lord about the possible incident, he only smiled softly and left her without an answer. Well, his eyes seemed to say that the woman already understood everything perfectly. The young lady at this time thinks that this idiot is making fun of her, after which she lies back down and thinks that she just woke up and already wants to pass out again. The maid at this time claims that she is simply going crazy with curiosity and asks how much the lady drank in total, to which she replies that she drank 1 glass. After which, Anna tells Milady that she spoke with His Highness yesterday and wonders if that is why she got so drunk. Well, the girl replies that not at all, but the maid already imagines all the options and makes her assertion that the lady could not forget him, and that is so tragic. The young lady then screams that everything is wrong, and the maid with tears in her eyes turns to Milady, but she only wonders what is wrong with her, after which he asks Anna to say whether she remembers the day when she poisoned herself. The maid replies that, of course, and the young lady claims that she simply cannot remember at all. Anna then claims that she doesn't know all the details anyway. Rumors about the prince's amorousness, always the most discussed topic among the nobility, the ladies were not too bothered by it. But 6 months passed, and people began to gossip that the prince had allegedly been seen with another woman and that she had even moved into the palace. And then a letter arrived which said that she had broken off her engagement with the prince. And the girl then turned to Anna and told her to prepare the carriage because she was leaving for the palace immediately, and when the young lady returned, she was in a very bad condition, and everyone immediately understood that the girl took poison with her and proudly drank it in front of the crown prince. The palace servants only confirmed the testimony. Now the maid is braiding the girl's hair, and she understands that something is wrong there, after which she asks Anna the last question. The girl then tells Milady that, of course she will answer. That girl asks, did she love the crown prince to the point of losing her memory, and does she still think so? Then the maid answers that, as far as she dares to judge Tony, and the main character thinks that if this is the case, then the possibility of deliberate poisoning cannot be ruled out. But he still understands that these are just guesses, and Tupner is on the list of those invited to the boat trip, so I'll have to ask him. Cadriel wasn't on the list for sure. Today, finally, someone else will be her companion. A little while later, the girl is already sailing on a boat and realizes that she thought so. Well, he asks why the guy is there, but he wonders if he is forbidden to be there. The young lady claims that he was definitely not on the list, but when she sees the other's eyes on her, she gets a little nervous. The guy also notices these looks and then claims that he doesn't need an invitation. After all, his face is known to all the people of the country. The girl understands that this is irrefutable, but screams, why is he with her again? Well, what does the young man ask? Hasn't she really received his letter about his desire to accompany her? At all possible events, the girl replies that she has never heard such nonsense, and she also wonders why he needs this, but the guy just covers her with his cape. And he says that it seems that her dress is not very suitable for such a walk, after which the young lady tells him not to try to deceive her. And the guy just doesn't want other lords to see how beautiful she is, and he can admit that. The guy then says that to some extent it would be wrong of him not to protect her from people who are only interested in her appearance. After which the young lady is surprised and asks what he is talking about, and the guy just takes off her hairpin, after which the girl's hair comes loose and he claims that he sees more than just an attractive appearance. And Leah can lose all her beauty or become even more beautiful, because he doesn't care. He also thought that he was going crazy, but gradually he became more and more convinced that he was right. And he could also catch her and swallow her like a tiny fish, but his swimming in an ocean full of tears and despair. And it's been going on for too long. The guy also says he'll be honest, and his patience is running out. And even if it's all just his imagination, he doesn't care. After which the ship sails to the shore and the guy extends his hand. And also suggests the lady to be more careful. Leah understands that she needs to control herself. And she definitely needs to cross paths with him less often. The young lady then turns to Cadriel and claims that the walk is over. But the guy then wonders if she's leaving already. The girl then looks at the ship in front of her and asks what the hell he's doing there. And the guy just claims that, by the way, nothing is finished yet. Leah wonders what kind of beautiful creature this is. And she looks at this ship with admiration, and the guy asks if she hasn't heard about today's launching ceremony of the new galleon named Contractual. After all, its owners are members of a trade alliance. However, the young lady only runs past the guy, and approaching the ship, he says that it is simply huge. The Lord claims that he knew that the young lady would like him. After which, the girl goes on board the ship and looks at it from all sides with admiration. The girl also calls the Lord to her and tells him to just look, and also wonders if the guy is not able to appreciate all the magnificence of this handiwork. The girl also understands that she really feels like she is in the open sea and she can't believe it. That she is on a real warship, the girl also thinks that Toulon would be better suited to these guns, although she's willing to bet that one of the crew would definitely try to drink the rum out of them as a joke. Well, at least their latrine figure was definitely better, and she thinks so. At this time, the guy approaches Leah and claims that the banquet will start soon, so he asks if she wants to join. To which the girl replies that, of course, at this time someone else is watching them. A little while later, fireworks are launched into the sky, and the aristocrats look on. Cadriel brings the girl champagne and claims that it is non-alcoholic, after which the girl drinks it. Well, then one of the aristocrats winks at her, after which the girl thinks that's all. But still with a smile on his face, he nods to him. At this time, the Lord turns to the young lady, and he says that it is definitely not the only girl who asks why. After all, he is the only one who still sends her flowers after the sabotage of the Lord, and he is her last hope, and although this guy is a little old, he will do. However, the blonde claims that none of the men present there are worthy of her, except for him. The girl then blushes and wonders if the champagne was non-alcoholic and why her cheeks are burning. At this time, the guy notices how the ship begins to move and claims that it looks like they are leaving, after which he also turns to Leah. Hey Girl comes unstuck, and Cadriel. They claim that the ship is leaving port, after which they swim away, and the girl thinks how she missed this feeling even though they are not in the open sea. But the slightly salty wind and the sound of the waves as well as the gentle rocking bring back memories. Well, then the girl thinks about the jock and realizes that she is starting to feel bad. At this time, the blonde claims that in about 8 hours they will sail past the drawbridge. But when he looks at the young lady, he asks what is wrong with her and if she is okay. The young lady then realizes that it is seasickness. The blonde man asks if he should bring her some water. And the guy who is nearby and watching them thinks that this is quite suspicious. And is this really the curse Calypso was talking about? A little while later, the young lady is already sitting down, and the guy claims that if everything is really bad, then he thinks that she should allow herself to cleanse her stomach, and he will help. Leah claims that there seems to be a carousel in her insides, and the guy asks her to stay there because he will bring water, and also tells the lady not to go anywhere because he will be back soon. The girl then asks where she can go at all, and also asks that maybe she should get drunk until she passes out, although that could be even worse. At this point, the guy thinks that this is too suspicious, and it seems that it is time to act. He then approaches Lady Valdemar and addresses her. The girl then says that she is finally interested in whether he has found anything, to which the young man replies that he met Calypso, but also understands that maybe not, and also claims that she told him something about Milady's curse. The guy understands that Calypso told something about the transmigration of souls, and if Rosetta's soul was in the body of this lady, then her reaction will not take long to come. But when he looks at the young lady's face, he sees that she is in a really bad way. And the young man then asks Milady, "What is it?" But she claims that she is going to vomit. The guy is then shocked and thinks that she is too ill to be just a drunk girl, and that she really has seasickness. He also wonders if Rosetta might be seasick, and perhaps there is a possibility that this girl is not cursed at all. But judging by her behavior, she is definitely not a lady, after which the guy sees the girl and even lies down on the bench. After which he asks Milady to pull herself together and realizes that it seems worth asking again. The girl then asks her to forgive her and asks what other cinnamon he met. The guy then replies that it's not cinnamon but Calypso, and she definitely has no time for important conversations today. So the guy asks if maybe the lady can spare some time for him next time. And he also wonders if she wants to stand up and let the light breeze wash over her, because he thinks it will help clear her head. And also, this is in any case better than just sitting, after which the young lady rises. And a little while later, they are already standing near the edge of the ship. Well, then the ship suddenly shudders, and the girl starts to fall, after which the guy screams at the lady and also tells her to hold his hand. But then the girl's hand slips out of his, and the young lady falls into the sea. At this time, Cadriel immediately runs up to her and screams Rose's name. The girl is in the water at this time and understands that the current is too strong, and if she makes one wrong move, she will crash into the ship. Therefore, the young lady understands that she needs to swim away from him, but still understands that the dress is heavy, and she needs to at least get rid of the corset. However, when the girl tries to do this, she suddenly exhales. And she realizes that she doesn't have enough air, after which she completely loses consciousness. At this time, the blonde jumps into the water, after which he swims up to the young lady and grabs her, after which he passes the air to her, kissing a girl. Owen. At this time, he remembers how he held the girl's hand, and he thought that it was really Rosetta that she would be able to easily get out. But when the girl's hand slipped out of his, the guy thought that if it wasn't her, then he immediately jumped up from his seat and turned to her, and in his thoughts, he asked her to swim out. Well, at that very moment, a lord ran past him and immediately jumped out of the ship into the water. All the aristocrats were surprised to see this. The guy looked at the lord's clothes and sat down and muttered to himself what he had done. A little while later, the lord is already on board with the young lady and is very worried about the girl. He cuts the cloth that wraps around her stomach and tells the young lady to just breathe, after which he performs cardiopulmonary surgery on her resuscitation and asks her to wake up. The guy presses his hands on her chest. Then he lifts her head and forces air into her lungs. Owen watches in shock at this time. The blonde at this time desperately begs the girl to breathe and claims that he cannot lose her again. After this, the main character just coughs and the guy asks if Ro can hear him. After this, the girl only coughs and tries to catch her breath, and the young man asks Ro what he should do. At this time, another guy comes up to them and claims that he thinks the lady is still having trouble breathing. But before he can finish, the guy once again pumps air into her lungs, after which he tells the girl to breathe more slowly and carefully, and also says that it's great and the young lady is great. The girl after that only looks at the guy and then completely switches off. A little while later, she comes to her senses and without opening her eyes asks God, let all this turn out to be a dream, and she will start donating to charity. And she will also go to church and give alms. At this time, she also hears someone laughing. And when she looks to the side, she realizes that it is a blonde guy. The girl then thinks, is it really him again? And the guy asks how she feels. After which he puts his hand to her forehead and asks if the fever has gone down. He also approaches Leah. And she says that thank God she feels better. The girl only moves away after that and asks if he's sitting too close. But when the young lady looks at what she's wearing, she realizes that it's definitely not her clothes. After which the girl screams in shock, asking where her clothes and jewelry are, to which the guy replies that they were carried away by the current, and he will give her new ones, after which the young lady says, okay, and asks where they are. To which the young man replies that it is in the Monterosa mansion on the archipelago, to which the girl says that of course. He realizes in shock that she is a pirate with whom this family is at odds, after which the young lady excitedly asks why, and the guy replies that she had a severe fever, and it was closer to their mansion, and let the girl look at the sheet because her parents sent it. After which the young lady reads something there about the Duke of Monterosa, and then but when she reads to the end, then she screams in shock, what is this, and what kind of nonsense did her parents write, because she immediately... However, before the girl could finish, the Lord took her by the hand and stated that, as it was said in the letter, he proposes marriage. The main character then asks why she would do that, but the guy claims that this is not just a letter, but an official statement from her father, and in short, they already have a blessing. And he tore her dress and kissed her more than once, and all this in the presence of 10 witnesses. The main character then says that yes, and even she would have thought in their place that they were just in love. The young man then wants to say something about the main character, and then asks what else, after which the guy replies that nothing, and tells Leah that he understands that she is not interested in marriage. But the rumors cannot be stopped, and let her imagine what society will think about them, because even an engagement will not be enough to save her reputation. So the guy offers to use it, and they will have not a marriage but a contract. He also agrees to any conditions. The main character then asks if he agrees to everything, to which the guy replies that he absolutely does. And they can go to the east immediately after the wedding or stay on the archipelago, because if she wants it, he can arrange it. And if such is her will, then they can neglect some marital duties. They can also draw up a contract if she doesn't trust him, after which the young lady simply tells him to stop. And the guy asks if this means that they can manage without him, to which the girl replies no. And he asks if she looks crazy because she won't marry him. And the girl claims that she told Cadriel this so many times. After all, he is not like her, and she would like him to shine and also find himself a beautiful wife. And he became an admiral under whose watchful gaze the safety of the eastern seas would be crippled. And she hopes that in the future their paths will never cross. The girl also thinks that it cannot be otherwise between admirals and pirates, and she already broke up with someone once, so she will never forget your mistakes. And the guy understands what she's talking about. A little while later, the maid says, that lady Monterosa has finally returned. The main character then asks if Anna called her Monterosa and if she is making fun of her. But the maid replies that she will soon become a married lady and will become one of the 7 lords. That's why she is so grown up. Anna also asks the lady to tell how it was, and then the girl says, how dare she? And of course it was amazing. And the lady also says that she couldn't sleep a wink at night, so let her tell about the other maids, and that only makes them smile. The main character asks what the girl already knows and where from, but the maid tells the lady not to pretend. After all, they know everything, and the maid also hands over a list of the latest gossip. One of the headlines there is that without the slightest hesitation, Lord Cadriel rushed to the aid of a drowning girl, and also strong feelings fell on them like a tsunami. The main character then asks what is written there, and the maid reads another headline which says that Lady Leah woke up in the middle of the night and found the Lord lying next to her, after which the young lady screams in shock about what she was talking about earlier and suggests to stop reading this nonsense, after which he asks who actually made this list, and the maid says that there is no need to be modest. After all, everyone already knows about it, so all she has to do is get married with her head held high. Leah is shocked and thinks that the entire archipelago knows about this, after which she falls onto the sofa. The maid then turns to Milady in shock, but she only starts laughing. And Anna asks if everything is okay with her lady. The girl then gets up and says that the time has come. The maid then asks what this lady is talking about, but the girl only says that Anna should bring it to her. After all that hour has come and the maid in shock asks if she should really bring that very thing. At this time, several guys are walking down the street, and one of them claims that he cannot believe that Lady Leah is getting married. One of them also says how quickly time flies, and then they see the main character. After which one of them asks if Her Grace is trying to escape since she is now wearing a maid's costume. While the girl is throwing her things, one of the guys claims that his wife also tried right before their wedding, and the other guy says that from a groom like him it is not surprising. After which, one of them asks when the lady managed to become so grown up, and the other one claims that he is so glad that now she is full of strength again. At this time, the main character thinks what a stupid, weak body this is, and that she couldn't climb up. That has never happened before. At this time, the guy turns to Milady, is surprised for some reason, and then falls down completely. The girl then claims that she is not trying to escape, but one of them then asks to let her help. Then they seat the lady, and one of them claims that he heard that the Lord will return soon, so let the lady not go far, and her mother will be worried about this, so let her come back soon. The young lady then thinks whether they seriously helped her. After which she thanks these two, and then one of the guys says that he will come in and they should help her down, so the guys ask the lady to wait a second because they will go around the wall. The girl then sits and waits for them, but then someone turns to Milady, and when the girl turns around, the Viscount there, who says that he will catch her and offers to jump, and also says that she asked about, but at that very moment the guy falls silent because he sees the soul of a young lady in front of him. After which the girl presses her foot on his face and then jumps to the ground. After which the young lady confidently moves on and thanks the guy for being a stand-in. And the young man claims that he found out about Rosetta's immersion in eternal sleep. Well, the girl at this time is already heading further, and a little while later she finds herself in the city. And she understands that everything is going according to plan. The girl also thinks that she has money to go to the east, but first of all, need to find Calypso and get back to your body. The girl also thinks she will feed Nick to the shark, and she also thinks how surprised Cadriel will be when she finds out that the real her has returned. Well, now the girl understands that she needs to rest a little bit, but when she turns the corner, then he sees someone and realizes that this granny looks like Calypso, and when he looks closer, then he asks if it is really her, after which the woman turns the corner, and the main character is surprised. After which he runs in that direction, but when he looks there, he thinks where she went. But at that very moment someone covers her mouth with their hand, and the girl is surprised. It turns out to be that same granny. And she tells the young lady not to scream, after which the girl asks with a smile on her face, "What is Calypso doing there?" The woman replies that Calypso is everywhere, although she did not expect to meet Rosetta today. The girl then asks if she knows who she is, after which the granny just laughs. And also says that, of course, Calypso sees everything. The girl then claims that she was looking for her and they almost missed each other. And the woman claims that she met Calypso because the time had come, otherwise their paths would not have crossed. After which she also claims that Rosetta needs me to go east. The girl asks what she means. And the woman claims that she is looking for her body, but she has been resting on the seabed for 4 years already. And even Calypso won't be able to revive the skeleton gnawed by the fish. The main character then asks in shock what she is saying. And also what happened to the soul of that girl, but the woman replies, "There." Where Calypso's gaze cannot reach, and probably in the wine world, the young lady then wonders if this means she will not be able to return, and the woman replies that this is exactly what she meant. The young lady is surprised after that, and asks Calypso to at least return her appearance, and also to curse her again and impose a curse that would change her. But the woman then turns to Rosetta and claims that the rule states that one curse teaches one soul, and it is the souls that move. The main character feels uneasy about this and asks what will happen now and whether she will really be a bird in a golden cage for the rest of her life. The woman then hands her the bottle and says that if the girl doesn't like it, then let her drink it. The main character asks what will happen after this, and the woman only tells her to drink. And this body will not be able to hold her soul any longer, and she will also fall asleep again. The main character understands that this is true, and if she spends the rest of her life in this body, she will never be able to return to the ship. And even if she manages to escape, this body is too weak for piracy, and it would be better for her to drink this bottle. But suddenly, the young lady stops and realizes that she just had to endure it. In order to simply survive, that's why now she only swears and thinks, is there really no other way out? And should she really give up her dream for this body? At this time, someone approaches the young lady. And then the main character turns around and sees that it's a blonde guy, and also understands that she also has him. This is a man who is ready to give his life for her. The guy at this time claims that they will not marry if she does not want, and the young lady understands that this is a stupid son of a cookie guzzler. The young man at this time claims that he will do everything and let the lady just say, after which he hugs her and asks her not to leave. Leah understands that he himself made the decision to get involved in all this, so he shouldn't blame her later. And now he is all that is left for her, after which the girl closes her eyes and the guy only asks her to wake up. The girl also understands that she dreamed something and she heard the splash of waves. She felt the sea breeze on her cheeks. And the sea ship rushed straight to the horizon, cutting through the water surface, and only that mattered. When the girl realized that it was a dream, she made an oath that will definitely return to the sea. Now the young lady opens her eyes, and the maid turns to my lady with concern, and also claims that they already thought that she would not wake up. The girl then gets up from the bed, and she asks why, and also claims that she would not have allowed this to happen. After which the girl also asks how long she slept, to which the maid replies that it was about 10 days. The main character then says that it is clear, and she has a request, after which the maid states that she will do whatever the mistress orders. And the main character says that she should invite Lord Cadriel. Much time later, the guy already enters the room. The girl tells him to sit down, after which the young man claims that he heard she was sick. Leah replies that yes, and she wasn't pretending, after which the young man only sighs. And he also asks if she is really so disgusted by the idea of marrying him. Leah replies that this is not the case, and the guy asks what it is then, to which the girl replies that she called him for another reason. After which he offers him to marry and live in joy and sorrow. The guy then approaches the young lady, and he claims that there will be no way back, to which she replies that she understands, and the blonde claims that he will never let go of her hand, and also asks if she hears, to which the girl replies that she does, after which the guy leans towards her, and he says that he would like to at least once look into her head and understand what she is thinking about. Well, the girl asks what this fool is talking about, because he is her everything, and in her thoughts she adds that he is not her only hope, and she will not have any obligations. And moreover, he does not want children, so he will not have to fulfill his marital duty. The guy came from the east, which means she's guaranteed salty sea air, after which the young lady says that if he doesn't believe it, then let him look at the contract. The guy then asks if she drew up the contract, to which the girl replies that she did. And she followed his advice, so she asks him to read it. Well, the young man then only takes the pen to sign it. The main character, in shock, asks if he has gone crazy, and if he was taught that he needs to read first and then sign. The young man replies that he agrees to any of her conditions and he doesn't care, but Leah says what a moron he is and asks what if she wanted him to become her slave. To which the guy replies that then he would become one, and maybe this is his dream, because who knows. After this, the main character only remains silent, and a little while later the maid is already preparing her for the wedding. When she finishes, the young lady looks at herself in the mirror and realizes that she is marrying Cadriel. And only now has it begun to sink in. The young lady also claims that her team would have gone overboard from such news, and they would have such a feast in honor of Cadriel. She also thinks that one of them would definitely say that the guy had been hanging around her like a lovesick little dog and finally got her. The young lady also notices the guy behind her and sees that he has his hair done and is dressed nicely. The girl also goes to the guy and asks if he likes it, to which he replies, yes. After which the young man takes her hand, and the main character of the video, as she shakes, asks what is going on and whether he is really nervous. And the guy replies that he is simply the happiest person in this world, and he can't believe it. After which he asks if the lady is against the practice, since he does not want to be disgraced during the ceremony. After which they just smile. The young lady understands what her adoptive father, the pirate of all the seas, once said, that to love means to be ready to give up everything for the sake of a dear person. Well, she's not ready to do that for Cadriel, and she won't be able to forget about piracy or her revenge. And the girl wonders if this means she doesn't love him. The blonde guy turns to Leah at this time, and he stretches out his hand, and the girl understands that there are no feelings for him. The priest interrupts her thoughts and asserts, What now when the betrothed have sworn fidelity to each other before the eyes of the Lord? They can seal their vow with a kiss here. The main character understands that she can't love this guy too much, after which they kiss. A little while later, the young lady is already greeting the guests, after which the blonde turns to her and claims that the archbishop asks her to give him a minute. After which, the young lady understands that the time has come and the Lord tells the girl not to worry because he has already spoken to him. The young lady says what a relief it is, and the guy says what's more important is whether she's okay because the girl looks pale. And he asks if she wants to rest because he can ask the archbishop to come later, and the young lady replies that that would be too much. At this time, the man asks to be allowed to congratulate Her Excellency on her wedding. After which, the young lady thanks His Eminence. The man says that, by the way, her spiritual energy has changed well. Sometimes water stagnates if it gets into the wrong vessel. The main character asks what he just said, and the man asks why the excitement. After all, it just takes a little time. He also asks the lady if she knew that lily represents purity and sincerity. The girl thinks what he is saying, after which the man claims that serious danger will soon befall the lady. And only she can cope with this danger, so let her not fail. At this time, the man claims that here she is, and when the young lady turns around, then he sees the prince with his bride. The guy then says that this is where the young lady is and congratulates her on her wedding. The lady who is near His Highness also congratulates them, and the blonde man claims that he did not think that His Highness would come. After which, the princess claims that she persuaded him, and they say that the gardens of the Valdemar family are incredibly beautiful. Leah then wonders if she really came there for the gardens. At this time, the girl asks if the lady will show her these gardens, and she will not refuse her such a small favor. After which the main character says yes, although she claims that she doesn't think she will see anything incredible there. At this time, the blonde looks coldly at this lady, after which he approaches her and takes the girl's hand, and also claims that they will only go on a short excursion. His Highness at this time addresses His Holiness, and also asks if it's time for him to get back to business, to which the man replies that of course he will leave them, after which the girl is left alone with His Highness, and he claims that he was waiting for their meeting. The young lady asks why, and the guy replies that he thinks the girl knows the reason better than he does, but her non-human replies that he has no idea. After which, she also looks at the pendant and realizes that it belongs to Calypso. Then the girl starts to feel really bad and wonders what's wrong with her. The prince then says that she is shaking and asks if the girl can really feel it. Leah asks what is going on, but the guy claims that he is the one asking the questions, after which he asks who the girl is. The main character opens her eyes wide from this, and the guy claims that she has turned pale, but he wants to give her something before he leaves. After which he hands her something and claims that they will talk next time. When the young lady looks at what he gave her, she realizes that these are her and Nick's matching bracelets. After which the girl just swears and also thinks what this guy is and what he managed to do. A little while later, the young lady is already in the bath and thinking about Nick and the crown prince, and also thinks what he managed to do. The girl also thinks that Cadriel must know something and it will be necessary to question him. At this time, the maid asks Milady if everything is okay, to which the girl replies that no, and that she is tired. And also thinks who knew that a wedding is such an exhausting event. Anna then asks what they should do then, and also claims that the night will be long, after which the main character asks what she is talking about. And the girl says that the lady should not pretend because she knows. Leah replies that she has no idea. After which, Anna claims that she completely forgot because she needed to choose a seductive outfit for Milady. She also asks, what about those mugs that let your imagination run wild? Or maybe she wants to cover up only the most interesting part because she personally wants to recommend this to her, and asks which of the outfits Milady liked. The main character then tells the girl to offer her a thong as well, and the maid asks if that can be done. And he says that Milady is brave, but the main character is just getting up from the bath, and she screams, "Is she serious?" A little while later, she is already dressed. In a beautiful purple nightgown, the girl also looks at it and asks if there was anything more modest, after which she also asks where this idiot is, and they would have already talked and she would have gone to bed. After which, the guy comes into the room and the main character asks where he was, but when she sees what kind of condition he is in, she is just embarrassed because she notices that the guy is only wearing one towel. The main character then moves away, and the guy approaches her and bends down, after which the young lady tells him to wait, and he did say that it is not necessary to fulfill marital duty. The young man at this time only reaches for the robe behind her, and the young lady asks if the services of clothes were not brought to him. To Cadriel, he replies that he always takes a bath himself and doesn't like other people's touches. The girl then says that she understands that her touch does not count, to which the guy replies that it does. After all, Leah looks at the guy and is embarrassed, but then shakes her head and thinks that she can't fall for this face. After which the girl also offers to clarify something and claims that she wants to talk about their marriage, to which the guy replies that he knows. And he also claims that this is just a contract, although he would even say that this is a financial transaction, and also knows that she doesn't like all this too much. The young lady replies that it is so, and the guy claims that he was apparently lucky that she had no other options. After which he also lowers the robe from the young lady's shoulders and states that, let this all be just a contract, but they are still a couple and everyone must believe it, and rumors will spread if her maids do not see any signs of passion in the morning. The young lady then replies that this is true, after which the guy approaches her. Well, the girl claims that if he does something stupid, he will lose his head. To which the blonde replies that he never even thought of it, after which he simply asks her to be patient for a little while, after which the young man approaches her neck and leaves a mark there and then on her stomach. Then he looks at the young lady's face, and when he approaches it, he says that she can open her eyes. The girl then just rises and looks away in embarrassment. She also claims that since they are finished, so she'll sleep on the couch today and he'll settle down on the bed, but the guy then says no. Then he gets up from the bed and tells her to stay there. The young lady then says okay and stupid son of a cookie swallower. Maybe he should lie down next to her, because they are spouses after all and they can't sleep separately. So let this be their attempt to get used to a new life, to which the guy agrees, and also offers to sleep together, after which they lie down. A little while later, the young lady's mother turns to her girl, and she says that it seems like only yesterday she was holding her in her arms as a tiny baby, and now she's already so big, but she will never forget how the little girl first wrapped her tiny fingers around her. And she was only 5 years old when she fell from a tree and broke her knee. The woman then continues her story, which seems to never end. And a little while later, the Lord states that they are planning to have a small reception when they get to the east, and he asks to spend the summer and autumn with them because these seasons are especially beautiful in those parts. The woman then asks if they really can, and her husband tells her to wait and claims that his wife is feeling sentimental today, and they should already leave because the journey is long and they will also contact Leah. Then the Lord asks to take their leave, and he turns to the young lady and offers her to go. The main character then agrees. And when she enters the carriage and sees her reflection in the glass, she understands that she was so eager to escape from this abnormal family. But now she thinks why she is not happy, and it is probably because these two did not even have the opportunity to see their real daughter on her final journey. After which the young lady tells the carriage to stop and gets out of it and takes the woman by the hand, and he tells them to try to stay in good health as long as possible. Her parents almost cry because of this, and the main character understands that this is for Leah. She then heads back to the carriage and says goodbye to the Valdemars as they drive on. Then the main character asks if it is necessary to go for about a week. The maid answers that yes, and with a smile on her face, she claims that she can't wait because they say that the castle offers a magnificent view of the sea. At this time, the main character imagines how she will already be running there and thinks why she has this in her head. After which the young lady also understands that she is finally on the right path, and as soon as they get there, then you will need to find Nick and also contact someone from the Marine League. Turner can help, and it's worth finding him. Well, maybe that doesn't mean he will help. And she has some kind of feeling that he was offended because he didn't say a word and simply left after the wedding. Although if you think about it, Cadriel might be more useful. But then the girl shakes her head and thinks that she won't use it. And it's only her business, so she can't drag this guy in, but they will have to discuss the issue of her real identity. And she might have to make him keep his mouth shut. The girl also asks where Cadriel is now. And the maid replies that a huge number of departments of state importance have fallen on his light now, so he had to go in a separate carriage with a personal secretary, and she asks if the lady has already missed him, after which he asks her to wait a little longer because they will see each other at the hotel, or the girl understands that the stop is definitely coming soon. But when they arrive at the hotel, the girl turns to him but sees that the guy is busy with business. And when they are supposed to go to bed, the guy closes the door and sits down next to it, but the girl only falls asleep after that. The next day, she wonders when they will be able to talk. After all, they haven't seen each other all morning. At this point, the maid, a little surprised, turns to Milady and asks her not to be upset. After all, she heard that the first times it is hard to enjoy the process. The main character then asks what she is talking about. And the maid just puts some box in the mistress's hands and claims that she found something for her just in case Leah asks what it is, and she replies that as she understood, she uses this in order to appeal to her partner's inner beast after nightfall. The main character, hearing all this, only gets embarrassed, after which he throws this box and screams that she does not need this nasty thing. The maid grabs this box when it bounces off the floor and asks the mistress what it is because it is an effective thing. And also with this, she will have just a crazy night. But the main character claims that she told the maid to remove it. At this time, the Lord enters the room and asks Leah if something has happened. The girl then answers embarrassedly that no, and the maid claims that they have decided, and this evening However, the main character screams that everything is over and let her not rub it in her face, after which the guy suggests going for a walk because he wants to take her somewhere. Leah asks if it's really right now, and the guy replies that yes, and they still have time before dinner. Leah asks why he is so sudden and why he hasn't been found lately. Well, the guy replies that he wants to show her something, and the weather is just wonderful, so they can walk along the beach. A little while later, the girl is already near the beach, and the Lord approaches her, and he says it's time. The girl then asks what it's time for, and the guy replies that he did say he wanted to take her to one place, after which they go somewhere, and when they need to go down, the guy holds out his hand and tells the young lady to be careful. The main character then agrees, but realizes that he doesn't say anything, and wonders if it will really be a boat ride. Well, when he approaches this place, he is surprised, after which he asks why Toulon is there. The guy then claims that he found it on the beach and brought it there so that the current wouldn't carry it away. The guy then claims that Toulon is a memory of Kirot and says that he never lost his relic. At this time, someone else also approaches them and asks for forgiveness for being late. The guy then says that it's nothing to worry about, but the priest just breathes heavily and asks if they are ready. The guy then nods, and the priest then says that in front of their lord is Ponton. The young lady then interrupts him and asks what is going on, and the guy replies that it is their wedding. And also they must swear fidelity to each other and before her God. The young lady then cries out, "Has he gone mad? And doesn't he know what this means? After all, such an oath cannot be broken, and he will not go to heaven." Well, the guy wonders why he needs a paradise where there will be no young lady, and he is ready to go through hell for the opportunity to hold her hand. After which, he also asks if the girl remembers what she told him. Then, a little while ago, the young lady asked if he was talking about the wedding dress and the ceremony. The girl also asked what all this was for, and in her opinion, only a Pontic priest was needed. And a bottle of good rum. Then the two will stand in front of the ship on which they will spend the rest of their lives together. And they swear to go to the bottom on the same day and at the same hour, after which he asks what could be more beautiful. Now the young lady asks if he is ready to go that far, and the guy replies that he will go as far as she allows. At this time, the priest asks for permission to begin and tells them to extend their hands, after which he says that neither a rolling storm nor immersion into eternal sleep will destroy this union. And the young man says that until the seas dry up and until they turn into rocks of salt, after which he drinks rum. And he hands it to the young lady, after which he says that while Marianne is drying up and until they turn into rocks of salt, they also drink rum. The young man then approaches his row and looks very happy. To Rosetta again, and she addresses him as the stupid son of a cookie eater, after which the guy hugs her and they kiss the priest, then claims that they sealed their vow with kisses, so he will go. At this time, the main character asks the guy when he understood, and he replies that it's hard to say. And she has a unique accent that is very recognizable, and she also arches her eyebrows in a special way and covers her right eye when she smiles, tilts his head slightly when looking someone in the eye, and bites his lip when frowning. And since the moment she injured her right shoulder, she always relaxes her hand when she has to strain it. Well, what's more important is that from their first meeting she smelled of the sea, and as for Toulon, that's all that was left. The girl then asks, what about her body? Well, the guy hugs her and apologizes. The young lady then says that everything is fine and he did more than enough, after which the young man claims that he would like to show her something else. A little while later, they already go somewhere, after which one boy runs up to them and addresses his lordship. He also says how long he has been gone, and he asks why he didn't come in, to which the guy replies that he was very busy and asks if there were any incidents, to which the boy replies that no. The Lord claims that rumor must be circulating among the people because the business is flourishing. After which the young lady asks if these are really children, and the guy answers what exactly. After all, these were orphans that she looked after, and the girl wanted to give them hope for a bright future. The main character then grabs the guy's hand and thanks him. A little while later, they are already returning to the estate, and Cadriel, he tells her to go first. The young lady then asks why he doesn't go, and the guy replies that he needs to take care of some business and kisses the young lady on the forehead. But when the guy is about to leave, the girl grabs his hand and tells him not to leave. And also stayed with her that night, a little while ago in the castle of Monterosa in the east. Cadriel, who was 17 years old, was training with a sword. Then another man came up to him and asked if the boy had gone out into the world again. The young man said that it was Vigo. He was the Admiral's subordinate, after which the boy asked how he knew. And the man replied that he had known him for 6 years and could discern any changes in his behavior during training. For example, raised shoulders and pouting lips, after which the young man claims that this is not true. And he also says that he despises his duties as a young lord no matter what event he attends. Everyone is staring at him like he's a tasty morsel, and they act as if he is their personal property. They are jealous of him and slander each other and also boast. Hey Guy claims that they are like a pack of animals. The man then claims that this is in the spirit of the gentleman, and he claims that all he wants is to be an admiral like his father. And his mother doesn't even let him on the ship and says that it's too dangerous because she still considers him a child. The man then asks the guy if he wants to fulfill his dream and try today, after which he is surprised. And his interlocutor claims that today is his last day of service, so let him consider this a parting gift and a kind of attempt to lift his spirits. The young man then asked if he was serious, to which the man replied that of course he was, and that from tomorrow he would no longer be part of the fleet, so he would not receive a reprimand. After which he told the guy to come to the harbor of Cyclad at night, and he would also take him on board. A little while later, the girl was already beating the guards who were in the prison, and also asked how many of them there were. Rosetta was 25 at the time, so she claimed that if she had not obeyed Kurgoth's orders, she would not have had this matter. A little while later, the girl asked who she should get out and from where, to which the man replied that, as he had told her, she needed to get into the Bilti prison and save the Admiral's son. But the girl then screamed, "Has he really gone mad? And does he offer her to work for the Admiral? But other pirates will stop talking to her if they find out about this." The man claimed that this is why he called her, and not Nick, after which he claimed that he was helping the Admiral, their sworn enemy. This is a clear betrayal of the pirate brotherhood, but it would force the Admiral to side with them. And rather on Rosetta's side, the girl was then a little surprised, and the man claimed that he considered her the best candidate for the role of his successor. But she is a woman, and in order to gain recognition, she will need support from others. Therefore, if she copes with this task, she will become the strongest captain of all. And the girl understood that this was their plan, and if everything went well, the Admiral and his son would take her side. And she will be able to use them in the future, after which the young lady turned to the younger Admiral, and she asked if he had kicked the bucket yet, but his father had said that she would not see any money if she did not bring him back alive. The young man then asked if she was talking about his father, and the girl thought how she could use this child. And it was also said that he was just a small landlubber. A little while later, they were already heading further. And when the girl turned around, she said that the guy was looking where he was going because it was very dark there. But at that same moment, she noticed someone around the corner and stood in front of the guy, after which she immediately grabbed this stranger. She also turned to the blonde and asked if he was okay. The young man then replied that he was, and the main character said that it seemed like they had already woken up, so let the guy go ahead and they had the same path anyway. After which they moved on, and the girl claimed that they would meet with the fleet of Saraposa. And that's where her powers will end, because they themselves will deliver him to the Admiral. The girl also told the guy to get into the boat and claimed that it was very deep there, and the current was fast and it was an ideal trap, after which she said that the guy was more careful and did not fall. Well, at that very moment, the young man splashed into the water and the main character thought that maybe she should just let him drown. But then the girl jumped towards the guy and pulled him towards her, sharing air, was embarrassed by this, and a little while later they were already sailing together in a boat. The guy watched the young lady, and she only claimed that he owed her one because she saved his life. Therefore, let the guy not forget about this when he becomes an admiral, to which the young man replied that he will not forget and will definitely repay his lady. The girl was only surprised by such words, after which she stroked his head and said that she was no one's lady but the captain. But the guy insisted that she was not his captain, after which he once again called her his lady. The girl then said that if he calls her that again, but the guy interrupted her and asked her to say her name then. And if she doesn't want him to address her as his lady, then let him say his name. Then the guy once again wanted to address her as his lady, but the girl only claimed that her name was Rosetta. And she said, therefore, let him stop calling her lady, the young man, after that only repeated this name, and he thanked the girl for saving him. The main character claimed that he really should be grateful, and he wondered if they would meet again, to which the girl asked if he had gone crazy since a pirate and an admiral can only cross paths in one place. And it's on the chopping block, so he shouldn't even think about looking for her. At this time, other knights swim up to the young lady, and the girl tells them to say their password, after which one of them claims that like a red sun born in the sea, the waves in it disappear. Then she also talks about the token, and the guy throws it to the young lady, after which the girl says that it is great. And also everything is fine, so let the guy get into the water, but he says that the girl should first tell him when he can see her again. Rosetta screamed, "Is it really that important now?" And the guy wondered when she would return to the port. After which the girl only screamed for him to quickly go to the boat, otherwise she would throw him into the water. But the young man then asked her to at least tell him how to contact them, after which the girl started screaming for this cookie eater's son to get lost already. A little while later, the girl was sitting in a diner, and one of the men asked another what he was doing there, and whether he was the one who said he had found a job for today. The other one then replied that his intuition was sounding the alarm, so he refused, and they were also given uniforms. And they said to pretend that the Bhutanese are soldiers of the Navy. His friend then claimed that a lot of people hire people for this and asked what was wrong with that, to which the man replied that yes, but the catch is that they were going to the Sea of Saripos. Then the other guy asked if they were really going there, and if those waters weren't controlled by the Navy. Well, his friend replied that since they were so impudent, they were afraid to arrange this masquerade on the territory of the fleet. These are definitely not simple guys, and he ran away before he was caught and sent to visit Davy Jones. The girl thinks that as soon as she handed over the Admiral's son to the Navy, someone hired people to dress up as sailors. And this whole situation doesn't even smell, it literally stinks. Well, the girl understands that she has done her job, and it is no longer her business. However, then, she remembers how the man said that she would become the strongest captain of all, and how the young man thanked her for saving him and also called her his lady. That's why now the young lady only swears. And then he goes to the sailor who says that this is why you shouldn't take a job that pays so much. At this time, the girl tells him to tell her everything he knows, which is why these two are scared. A little while later, the blonde man is on one of the ships, and the man claims that he looks confused, after which he addresses him as a young gentleman and claims that he was kidnapped twice by the same person. So, of course, he is surprised. The blonde then asks what they want, after which the man just laughs and asks if the gentleman understands since he is only following the orders of his superiors. He also points a revolver at the guy and asks if he will have any last words. But the young man then notices something flying past the window and looks there. The man then claims that he is talking to him. and she wonders what the guy is staring at, but at that very moment, the body of another person flies into the room and hits the man, after which the guy hears someone addressing him as the cookie eater's son. And then he sees Rosetta and she asks if he has disappeared yet. The young man then turns to Rosetta with shining eyes and runs up to her. After that, they get out on deck and the girl deals with the knights. She also tells the baby to stay behind, but when the young one turns around, someone else attacks her from behind. The blonde, noticing this, immediately pulls the sword out of her sheath and repels this attack, after which he cries out whether everything is okay with Ro. The girl only smiles after that as well. He turns to the little one and asks why he started fighting only now if he knows how to do it, to which the guy apologizes. And the girl tells him to hurry up and take the ball because it will be difficult for her to cope with them alone. After which they begin to fight, and when they fight, Rosetta asks if he is okay to, which the young man wants to answer that everything is fine. But at that very moment the ship shakes and the guy falls, after which the girl turns to the baby, and she screams for him to get out of there, after which the guy sees a barrel falling on him. The young lady immediately covers it with her body, after which the barrel hits her on the hand, and the main character claims that she needs to be careful. The guy then turns to Ro and worries about her shoulder, but the girl claims that it doesn't matter now. After which he rises and claims that if life is dear, then let him take the sword, there is no need to hesitate. At this time, the guy sees his father, after which he claims that they are saved. A little while later, the girl is already standing wrapped in bandages and the young man is interested in how her shoulder is, to which the young lady replies that there is no reason to worry, but at the same moment her shoulder begins to hurt. After which the guy claims that she needs to tell Rosetta something, then claims that she needs to tell him something. However, at that very moment, someone calls the girl and screams for her to go there because he will pull her out of there. Rosetta then asks if it is Nick and also addresses the cookie eater's son, and she claims that it was fun, so let him not forget that she is twice. The guy then wants to say something else, but the girl at this time only jumps into the sea and then swims up to Nick and hugs him. The blonde at this time only watches this as a load, after which they watch as they float away. A little while later, he asks what they are talking about, and his interlocutor claims that he has already spoken, that these two are close as brother and sister, and they were close as brother and sister. And they were also orphans who were taken in by the shelter, but nevertheless it is surprising that of the two of them, Rosetta must become the successor Cadriel, then turned to Owen and asked Togo to tell him where he could meet her, after which the guy replied that he had heard that a deal would be made in the harbor that evening. A little while later, he also claimed that he heard there would be a battle on the garbage heap, after which he spoke about other situations where Rosetta should have been involved. And when the guy once again did not find her there, he was so upset that he couldn't even meet her today. Well, at that very moment, the young man heard someone swearing, and in shock he jumped up from his seat and asked if it was really Rosetta. The girl was then a little surprised and asked what he had forgotten there, met her, but he insisted that the kid should just give up and go home. The main character then claimed that he continued to stalk her and asked how he knew so much, but he only turned to Rose, after which he grabbed her hands and claimed that he liked her and that he also missed her. Turned away from all this light, and the guy asked if Ro knew, but the girl interrupted him and asked if he was crazy, after which she told the guy to stop bothering her and get lost because she would be gone from Cyclode for some time, so let him just forget about her. Well, the young man asked how he could forget about her and claimed that he could never do that, and her word will find her no matter where she is or how much time it will take. And it doesn't even matter what she looks like because he will do it and find her no matter what it takes. Now the young lady just grabs the guy by the shirt and pulls him closer to her, after which she kisses him. The young man then lays her down on the bed and begins to undress and asks her to speak. If there was anything she wanted, the young lady would only ask how he managed to feel so at ease. After which the guy replies that to tell the truth he is a little worried after all. This was their first time. And he had imagined it very often, so he couldn't count how many times, and he didn't want to disappoint her. The young man also kisses the girl's hand and claims that he thinks she will not remain unsatisfied because he is good at almost everything he does. Leah is only embarrassed by this and also claims that sometimes it is confusing, after which she asks if he is looking at her or at Leah, after which the young man tells Ro to look at him. and he claims that he understands what she's going through. Well, the girl then says no and let him not worry about it because it's not that important. The guy then just grabs her and sits her on his lap. The young lady then asks what the hell he is doing. And the guy just asks Rosetta to look at him and claims that honestly, she is incredibly good at worrying about trifles and he will even covet a pebble on the street, if her soul is in it. The next morning the girl wakes up because the sun is shining on her. And then she thinks how heavy the guy is, after which she turns around and looks at his face. And she also remembers last night and understands that she must have gone crazy yesterday. But the girl thinks how could she do this, after which the young lady also looks at the candle, and he remembers how the girl claimed that this candle is used by those who want to turn their partners into real animals after dark. And now it is clear to her why she felt so good, and the girl screams that she said that she didn't need such nonsense. But then she sees that the wick is used up and is surprised and also wonders if she could. Falling in love with this scoundrel is not going to work anyway. The guy opens his eyes at this time, and the main character asks if he is really not sleeping. But the young man at this time only pulls her towards himself, then hugs her and says that just a little more. The main character thinks that she really shouldn't have fallen in love with him. At this time, the prince turns to his interlocutor and asks if the preparations are progressing normally. To which the guy replies that yes, and kidnapping people is not a difficult task for pirates, but what is more important, how are her searches going? And His Highness asks whose, to which the guy replies Rosetta, and he asks if they managed to find her, and he took the bracelet, so the guy assumes that there has been some progress. His Highness only smirks and claims that the one whose soul has changed bodies is unlikely to advertise this fact, after which the guy claims that he is trying to do this so that his interlocutor does not worry and just concentrate on fulfilling his part of the deal. After this, Nick only remains menacingly silent, but claims that everything is fine, but she needs to find her. Because Rosetta is the only one he needs. The main character is heading somewhere in a carriage at this time. And when she comes out of it, she greets his lordship and asks for forgiveness for the delay because she promised to arrive earlier. The woman then grabs the girl's hands and tells her not to worry about it, and also greets her and claims that the girl must be tired from the journey. She also asks if she can just call her Leah. The woman also says that she has always dreamed of having a lovely daughter like her and claims that they have just finished tidying up her things and suggest having breakfast in the garden. The guy at this time turns to his mother and claims that she is putting Leah in an awkward position. The woman then only raises her hand and then claims that she herself will show Leah the mansion. The guy then claims that he can give her a tour, and the woman claims that she would also like to have the opportunity to spend time with Leah, and that it would take no more than half a day. The guy's father then decides to enter the conversation and claims that the guy still needs to go to the residence with him and his mother was looking forward to this day, so he asks for understanding, to which the woman says yes, and it seems he is very busy. The guy then says that he will return as quickly as he can, to which the girl replies that there is no need for this, after which the guy just kisses her on the forehead and also claims that he wants it, and despite their requests, let the girl not do what she does not like. The guy's mother at this time thinks that it is only worth looking at this guy, and he also claims that she won't eat his wife, so let him go. Well, the guy claims that's why it's hard for Leah, after which the woman simply answers yes, and the guy's mother asks if they should go too. After all, they have so much to visit, and it will be fun, and it will take half a day to see everything. The main character then asks if this is true and goes after her fiancé's mother. A little while later, the girl is already completely exhausted and wonders what kind of estate this is that can only be looked at for half a day. The woman at this time thanks Leah and thanks the Duchess in return. The woman then tells her not to be shy, and she called her Ruiz. The young lady then asks if that's possible, and the woman replies that it's everything she wants. This is so that the lady is comfortable, and if being there brings discomfort, then the two of them can live separately because they are free to do whatever they want. She also claims that she is already very grateful to the young lady. The girl then asks if it was really her, and the woman claims that she returned Cadriel and that he was a child who never hid anything from her and was open to the world. However, over the past few years, he has completely closed his heart as if he had become a piece of wood. Unable to experience any emotions, the main character is only silent after this. And the woman claims that when he met her, he changed, and her son began to smile, as if those years of torturing herself were a test for these days. And when she sees this happy child, she feels like she is sleeping like never before. Surprised by this, and the woman claims that she is already tired and the last place worth visiting is her room. And she also wanted to decorate it better, but Cadriel insisted that everything look exactly like this. Like something then let her say, so after which the woman opens the door to this room, and when the main character looks there, she is a little surprised, and Ruiz claims that it seems that Cadriel has succeeded, and then she turns away. The young lady at this time places her hand on the statue which is on her bed, and at that very moment someone comes into the room and asks if she likes it. The girl claims that he did quite a painstaking job, to which the guy replies that he just wanted her to be happy, after which the girl says that he succeeded, and it's an exact replica of the captain's cabin on Toulon, so of course she liked it. The guy then asks if she had any acquaintance with the East, to which the girl replies that no, and it has not yet reached her. And the guy says that if she doesn't like it there, then they can go somewhere else, but the girl claims that his dream lies in the East. After which the young man claims that his dream is to be with her, and her happiness is all he wants. The girl then smiles and claims that he is of course crazy, but the guy replies that he is serious and the young lady can do whatever she wants. After all, everything is wonderful until she falls into eternal sleep, or does something terrible. After which, the guy also asks just not to leave him. A little while later, the young lady is already lying with her eyes closed, and the guy kisses her and then goes somewhere. Then the young lady gets up from her seat, and a little while later, she changes into a maid's costume. Then Anna also enters the room, and she claims that she brought what the lady asked for. The main character claims that she sees the girl definitely got everything in abundance. The maid then asks Milady if she really wants to do this, to which the girl replies that of course, and she had been waiting for this for so long. A little while later, the young lady was already leaving the estate through the back door, and the maid points to one of the sides and claims that they can go there and the servants only come there to throw out the trash, so there shouldn't be anyone nearby. Then they move on and the maid asks Madam to be careful. The girl also asks how long the maid said it would take to get to the main square, and she answers that it will take about an hour. A little while later, they finally approach the carriage, and the maid states that the road to the square is a little uneven on this side, and asks if the lady is sure that everything will be okay. After which the girl replies that everything is not so bad. However, when she looks at the road, he says that this can't be. A little while later, they finally arrive at the square, and the man opens the door to the carriage and claims that he did it in an hour as they asked, so he will take 2 silver coins. Well, when he looks at the ladies lying in the carriage, he asks if they have fallen into eternal sleep, but if they are going to throw everything out of their heads, then first let them give him the silver. After which they do so and get out of the carriage, and the maid claims that this is why they say there is no place like home, to which the main character agrees. And he also tells the maid to wait there, after which he gives the address, but the maid asks where it could be, because in this city there is not a single address that begins with the number 4. Well, the young lady replies that it does exist and tells Anna that if it takes her more than 2 hours to get back, then she should gather her people and go to the harbor, and no matter what happens, she will get there. After which the girl tells her to remember about 2 hours, and if it takes even more time, then she could be in danger. Well, let them not dare to go to the naval administration under any circumstances, because Cadriel must not find out about this. The maid then tries to object. Well, the girl just goes on. A little while later, she turns around and wonders where the hell she is. But so much has changed in the last 4 years. The girl also understands that port cities always change quickly, and that is their nature. But at this rate, she won't be able to return quickly, and she also turns around and thinks who these two are. But most likely they are either thieves or people whom Cadriel ordered to look after her. Then the girl immediately runs around the corner, which surprises the guys, after which they do the same and scream, "Where did she go?" And she must have been the leader of this squad. Well, the main character at this time jumps behind them and then puts bags on their heads, after which she pushes one and kicks the other so that he crashes into the wall. Then the young lady runs away from there and thinks how tired she is, but it wasn't even a total war, but she was already exhausted. Then the girl also sees one merchant and understands that he has been found, but these people change his location every 15 days, so she did not expect that the truth would find him, and this is great luck. The girl understands that she needs to go down the first alley after the potato seller, then turn right and walk 2 blocks, and then turn right again. And finally find the third sign in the first alley, after which the girl sees it and claims to have found it. At this time, someone approaches her and asks for alms. And also even 1 copper coin will be enough, although a silver coin would be better. But the girl replies that she left her money in the belly of the whale, and yet the guy says that her wrist will be firmly fixed in place. After which the girl claims that she escaped long before the beast could swallow her hands. Then the guy points to the door and they greet her there. After which the young lady says that this is great and throws a gold coin to the guy who picks it up. After which the girl goes inside and the waiter asks her if she wants ice too, which she replies that she will take the same as them, but the man claims that he is afraid they just came out of this. To which the girl replies that she came there knowing that she could get something, and the man claims that he doesn't know from whom she heard it but screams for them to grab her. After which he says that the girl heard this man and the young lady just opens the door, but at that very moment someone grabs her and starts to strangle her. The young lady then cries out that it is Owen. The boy is then surprised and also cries out that it is Lady Leah, but then addresses her as Her Grace and asks why she is there. But the young lady only says what a warm welcome it is and claims that she and Owen have not seen each other for a long time. The guy claims that Cadriel would never tell her about this place. Well, the girl replies that the lady has her own ways of gathering information. However, this is not the most important thing, and she came there today not as an acquaintance but as a client. But before that, she needs to resolve some issues. The guy then thinks whether she is talking about issues and understands that, of course. She means when she fell overboard, and the girl claims that he should know what she is talking about. After which, she screams why he didn't come to the wedding, and the young man is surprised by this, and the main character claims that she has no brothers, sisters, or friends, only him, so it was necessary to come and congratulate her, after which the guy appears and claims that there was a reason why he could not come. A little while later, they are already sitting down at the table. And the main character asks the guy to tell her if he still feels guilty for her falling into the water. The girl also understands that it will be much better for her if this scoundrel considers himself guilty, and no one knows the sailors of Toulon and the Red Dawn of Rosetta itself is no better than him. But the problem is that he can drag Cadriel into all this, so if she doesn't want this to happen, she has to get him on her side completely. The guy at this time claims that he is truly sorry, and for a moment he lost consciousness, to which the young lady replies that it is true, and also claims that she really almost fell into eternal sleep, and asks if he remembers. After which she tells his lordship that everything is fine, and he must have been taken by surprise. And also it is obvious that he was so depressed that he did not come to her wedding, so she came there to say that everything is fine and everything is good because she understands him. The girl thinks that she needs to attract this guy to her side. And then she clearly saw that he had a good opinion of her, so if she just played her cards right, she could persuade him. The guy at this time thanks milady, but asks if she really looked into such a dangerous place just to tell him this. And earlier she mentioned that she came there as a client. The girl then thinks that nothing escapes this guy, and also claims that, in truth, she came there to ask for a favor, after which she grabs the guy by the hand and addresses him as Owen, but then calls him Turner, and claims that she would like to get some information. It features the pirate Rosetta, who is Cadriel's first love, and she wants to meet her crew. The guy is then only surprised and asks what she is talking about, and the girl claims that she wants to meet and see what they can tell about her, because she knows that her husband loves her, but it seems to her that he is constantly trapped in her shadow. After which she asks to do this for her peace of mind, from which the guy only looks at her about the task, and the girl thinks that she feels sorry in front of Cadriel. Now the girl claims that no one will know and asks to help her only once. A little while later, the young lady returns to Anna, and she only turns to the young madam and asks if she even imagines how worried she was. But if she had stayed even for a moment longer, then they would have had to report her disappearance, after which the young lady apologizes when they enter the carriage. Then Anna asks if everything went well, to which the young lady replies, of course, and the maid wants to say that it is fantastic. But at that very moment, the carriage shudders, after which the maid tells the young madam to hold on tight. A little while after this terrible journey, the two of them are already outside. The coachman then claims that he has done everything and let the lady give up those silver noses, then asks what kind of crooked faces they have and whether they really quarreled. The main character then screams, does he really think that this is what happened? The man then asks why the mistress is so angry, and the maid says that there is no need to cry now. After all, her mistress is usually very kind, but at the moment she is a little sensitive to touch. Well, when the maid turns around, she suddenly notices something. Then he turns to the madam and she asks, what is the matter? But the maid only points to the road and asks if this is not Lord Cadriel's carriage. But the girl cries out that he clearly said that he would return only in the evening. The young lady then only swears and then turns around and tells Anna to hurry up because they have to get ahead of the guy, to which the girl replies that she would be happy to. Well, then she asks how they will pass this way. Then these two run along the dangerous road, and the maid screams at the mistress that she does not know what exactly is happening. But he asks if she could just tell the Lord everything because he will definitely help. Well, the girl screams for the maid to stop talking nonsense and claims that it is her business. And also, if Cadriel finds out, then he will definitely stop her or rush at her. Well, then the girl suddenly grabs and starts to fall. The maid then grabs the lady and screams for her to hold on to her hand. Well, the main character then screams for the girl to let her go, after which the maid screams that, no way, and even if she falls into eternal sleep, she will not do this. The young lady then tells Anna that it is true and asks her to let go, and also claims that this way she can climb up faster on her own, so let her let go. The maid then sees that the girl is on some rocks and understands that her mistress is really safe. After that, they continue to run, and the young lady thinks that she needs to fight back, and she also asks in her thoughts to say that the guy has not arrived yet. At this time, the young man drives into the estate in a carriage and gets out of it. At this time, the girl runs with all her might. And when he runs into the estate, he says something to the butler. A couple of minutes later, the Lord also comes into the estate and says something to the butler. The main character is running up the stairs at this time, and the Duke a moment later is already reaching for the door handle. After which he all enters the room and approaches Rose and tells her to wake up because it's already noon. The girl then opens her eyes and asks if it is really that late already. To which the blonde replies that he came to have lunch with her and asks why she is still in bed and also whether yesterday really tired her out so much, to which the girl replies that yes, and this body is a little weak. Leah also claims that she actually wanted Cadriel to do something for her and asks if he could find a fencing instructor. The guy then asks why, and the young lady replies that it would be nice to increase her endurance. And besides, sitting idly by is not the best thing to do, but the young man then only leans towards her. Leah then asks in surprise if he is against it, but the guy replies that no, and he will find a trainer. He just wants to stay with her for a while longer. After all, when they sit like this, it is more clearly felt that she is really there. After which, the guy also tells her to rest a little, and he returns to the naval department. However, the girl then stops him and claims that earlier he said that he came to have lunch but asks how about doing something else. The young man only smiles in response to this, then hugs her and says that if she wants it, then so be it. A little while later, the guy is already sitting in the carriage and turns to Owen and asks what his wife asked him for, is silent after that, and the blonde asks if he has really forgotten about their deal. After all, when he allowed reconnaissance activities in this area, he agreed to show everything he learned. And before, the guy was never against their agreement, so the Lord asks why he is doing it now, otherwise it is not like him. The young man then asks if this is not like him, but the guy just says that the Lord should be reasonable because he does not object, he is just curious. And he means his relationship with his wife, and also whether she knows that the guy treats her secrets like that. The blonde just says that Owen should not play the information broker with him. To which he replies that he is not playing at anything and is simply trying to determine what position he should take, because this is important when dealing with clients who are friends. He then claims that the guy seems to have misunderstood something and his only goal is to protect his wife. After which he also says, let Owen do whatever the girl asks him to do, no matter what. After which the brown-haired man asks what he is talking about, and the Lord does not even know what request she made, to which he replies that he has thoughts and he will take on all the expenses, so let the guy just help her, and if he finds out anything related to Toulon he will wait for him. After which Owen says that it looks like the gentleman is already aware, and he replies that his main concern is the safety of his wife. Well, the guy replies that it's great, and also claims that he will help in any way he can and will even report to the Lord, but on one condition. After all, he heard that he was looking for a fencing instructor and then asked to be allowed to teach the young lady. Cadriel asks what the guy is up to, and he replies that the Lord wants no less than he does that his wife does not have to go down such a dangerous path every time when she wants to visit him, and besides there is something he wants to confirm. Cadriel says that this is very good because it will be better for her own good, and given Owen's skill level, she should be in good shape. Well, in any case, no matter how good he is, he will not dare to cut a single hair from her head, and the guy also says that he has one condition. Then he puts his hand on the guy's face and tells him to wear a mask during class. Owen asks why, to which his interlocutor replies that he is uncomfortable with the guy's handsome face. After this, the brown-haired man only bats away Cadriel's hand and asks what that was. And a little while later, the main character already sees Owen, and she asks what he is doing there, to which the blonde replies that from today on, he will be her fencing coach. The girl then wonders if such a pampered young lord as he will be her trainer, and her husband replies that despite his appearance, he is in fact a very capable person. At this time, Owen is only wondering if this couple really makes fun of people, a way of life. After which he also asks to be allowed to introduce himself officially, and states that Viscount Owen Canberg is at their service and will henceforth be her fencing instructor. The guy also extends his hand and states that he believes they have already met her ladyship. The girl replies that yes, and so it is, and it is also nice to see him again. But at that very moment, a blonde man jumps up in front of the young lady and shakes Owen's hand, which surprises the guy, and the Lord claims that he didn't say anything like that and is only caring about him. After which he also states that in addition to touching the sword contact with is prohibited, Owen then asks how they can practice fencing, and the Lord will teach him this. The main character at this time asks if she is bothering Cadriel, after which she tells him to hurry up and not disturb her lesson, and also asks if he is late. The girl also claims that she will deal with it herself, so she asks him to leave. After which the guy just kisses her on the forehead, and Owen looks at this and is embarrassed. Leah asks what came over the guy since they are not alone, and the blonde then apologizes and asks if she is really angry since he was about to leave anyway. After which he hugs her goodbye and leaves. When the guy does this, the main character asks if Owen is now her fencing instructor. And this is quite a big coincidence, but the guy claims that this is destiny, and he volunteered for this position. And also such a fragile lady, as she is very dangerous to visit the area where business is conducted. The girl then asks what exactly he said to Cadriel, and the guy remembers how the Lord asked to keep the fact that he was interfering a secret from his wife. After all, he would rather fall into eternal sleep than see her contempt. That's why now the guy just keeps silent and also claims that he is one of those who are ready to do anything for money. After which the young lady asks how things are going with the fulfillment of her request, to which the young man replies that he was just going to talk about it and hands the girl a piece of paper with the text. And also claims that all the members of the Toulon crew with whom one can contact at the moment are listed there, and she can also look through the list at her leisure, and as soon as he chooses someone suitable, they will meet with him next time. But the girl replies that no, and they'll go right now. The guy then apologizes and asks what she's talking about. Well, the young lady replies that she's already chosen who she wants to meet and they'll hit the road right away. A little while later, they find themselves at the market, and the guy tells the lady that she didn't need to take such a risk because she could have stayed, but the girl replies that it is her decision and she must come herself, and besides she cannot force him to go through all the troubles alone. And this man is the youngest on the list, so wouldn't he be stunned by the thought that a noble lady would suddenly ask for a meeting with him? The guy claims that her ladyship is being too tactful, and the young lady then asks if there is any more information about this man, to which the guy replies that his name is Melvin, and this young man was the youngest member of the Toulon crew. Rosetta took him in when he was little, and it seems they were very close. But in any case, the girl must act carefully because no matter how young he is still an ex-pirate. The girl then asks if he is really an ex, to which Owen replies that this guy broke his leg and now sells various things thrown out by the aristocracy, and he is extremely cunning. Therefore, a moment of weakness can cost her jewelry. The main character says that it is really necessary to be careful. The girl also understands that this guy is more cunning than his face during the hunger strike and at one time working for Toulon. She managed to sniff out many profitable deals thanks to this rogue. He is sharp-tongued and also loyal. Anna currently has no one like him on her side, but such a smart guy as he is. He would never have come if the noblewoman had called him out of the blue, and he needed to create an opportunity to be alone. And for this she would take advantage of his old habit, after which the girl suddenly trips over a carrot and falls on this young man. Owen immediately turns to Leah with concern. The girl at this time asks if the guy is okay, and she is terribly sorry. At this time, the guys see that this girl has big, innocent eyes, earrings with 10-carat diamonds, and the clothes of a noblewoman, after which he understands that this is a jackpot and falls to the floor and screams that his poor head hurts. The girl understands that this young man has been caught and says what a poor thing he is, and also asks if it hurts him a lot, to which the guy replies that probably a blow to the head is always accompanied by poor health. Owen, meanwhile, watches all this in shock, and the young lady asks if the guy should go to the doctor, to which he replies that it is not necessary and that he will not be able to leave his business. He also has a sick mother at home, and if he doesn't take care of things today, how will he be able to pay for his mother's treatment? Owen then tells this guy not to try to fool his head, because he barely has a scratch on him. But the main character claims that if he talks about more, then you need to see a doctor, and this little child is struggling alone to earn an honest living. After which the girl also asks why they don't take him to the crew, and he will receive compensation for today's loss of profit as well as for medical expenses, after which the guy thanks her, but still understands that there is a hook, line, and sinker. The girl at this time turns to Lord Owen and states that she is going to provide treatment for this boy, after which she asks if he could take care of everything there. The young man at this time tells the madam that clients are waiting for him and asks what they should do, after which the main character leaves with him and apologizes for disturbing him, but asks if Owen could sell these vegetables since he is able to do a decent job. The guy then asks why they don't just get it out of their heads, but at that very moment there's a whole crowd behind him, and one of them asks for a bag of potatoes, and another one tells the guy to hurry up because he's late. The main character at this time enters the carriage with the guy, and he claims that he did not expect the lady to take care of his treatment because she is so kind and noble, but the girl only tells Melvin to stop pretending. The young man is surprised, after which everyone asks him how she knows his name, but the girl asks if he wants to know, after which she claims that of course it was from Nick's first mate. She also realizes that no matter how loyally Melvin followed her, she still needs to make sure that he was not one of the scoundrels who betrayed her that day. After which the young lady says that they hatched several brilliant plans with him and reunite those who took part in the rebellion 4 years ago, and Nick advised to first contact him, after which the girl asks what he will say and whether he wants to join them. The girl also asks in her thoughts that the traitor be anyone but this guy, and the young man claims that it seems the lady has mixed something up. He then menacingly claims that he had no part in that incident, and the young lady claims that the state of the country had told her that he was not on the ship that day, and asks if he really helped put that crazy woman captain into eternal sleep. But the guy then says that no matter how high her position, the lady should not dare to speak badly of her, because serving Captain Rosetta was the greatest honor in his life. The girl then claims that the guy knocked her out cold, and he is a little surprised, after which the young lady calls Mel a moron and claims that it was her. The young lady throws a bracelet into his hands, and the guy is surprised by this, and also claims that this is the captain's bracelet. Leah replies that everything is correct, and he is talking about the reddest dawn. And also, she returned from the salty depths to take revenge on that cowardly idiot Nick who stabbed her in the back. A little while later, the maid is already combing her mistress's hair. After which she asks who she brought, to which the girl replies that she wounded this guy by accident, therefore let Anna make sure that when he wakes up, the place is already prepared. However, the maid only asks if her mistress is so naive and claims that this child is deceiving her. Anna also asks if the lady even imagines how many boys are involved in such things extorting money. But the main character claims that everything is not quite like that and asks if this guy woke up too, which the maid replies that no, and he is also such a good actor because he is still pretending. Leah replies that it is not acting and he really lost consciousness because she told him several stories about ghosts. A little while later, the guy was sitting with the young lady and asked if she really was Captain Rosetta, and also asked how he could believe her at all. Well, and the girl then claimed that one day Mel asked her why, even though seawater is everywhere, the salt obtained from it costs more than from cold springs. The young man then asked how she knew, and the girl claimed that the guy opened his heart to Tessa, who was 6 years older, and there was a scar on the left side of his back. He got hit in the chin when a mended sail fell, and he is also known as an orphan pirate, but remembers his parents' faces, and also told her that they both loved him very much before they fell ill and fell into eternal sleep, after which the girl also said that Mel grew up to be a wonderful person, and his parents would be proud of him. The young man then could no longer hold back his tears, and asked if it was true that he was the captain, to which the girl replied that of course. And the young man immediately fell to her knees and also claimed that he could not believe it. The main character then said that, yes, and she was glad to see him. Leah also thinks that this guy is still timid, after which she tells the maid not to be strict with him because after all, he was once a pirate, and let her help this guy get used to life there in the castle. After this, Anna only apologizes and claims that she is confessing because she is several zodiac signs. She also cries out that the lady did not always extend a helping hand to people and she had to get used to the castle on her own, but that was also difficult. Leah asks when she ever did that and the maid says she's annoyed, but then they see Cadriel. The main character approaches him and claims that he came so early, but she thought that he said that he would return later. The guy claims that he came for clothes and will now leave again. Leah asks how the situation is at sea, to which he replies that it is in some ways bad, and that privateers from small kingdoms have been rampant lately. These are pirates officially recognized by the state who are mainly used to attack ships of other countries. Haggai claims that war may break out soon. The young lady then claims that if he is talking about this, then the date of his departure has already been set, to which the young man replies that yes, and that is so, and also they are leaving in 4 days at dawn, and also he will not be able to return earlier than 20 days. The main character after this only hugs him and says that just think about it. But the war came so suddenly, Cadriel argues that since the crown prince will soon marry, it is worth strengthening the empire both internally and externally. Leah says that if the guy gets even one scratch, she will put this terrible prince into eternal sleep, while the blonde says that she shouldn't worry because nothing will happen to him. The young lady then sits down on the bed and asks if she can't do anything. Well, the guy just asks if she can if he tells her to, which the young lady replies, yes, and she is Rosetta, more about the sea than anyone else. Cadriel then says that in that case could she not postpone her revenge for a while. Surprised by this, and the guy claims that he saw Mal on the way there and this is Toulon's child. He also says that he knows that the girl wants revenge on Nick and will not try to stop her, but nevertheless if she does it while he is not there, then no one will be able to protect her. Leah claims that she worked alone from the very beginning, and the guy says that this is what turned into torture. Then he asks why she does not want to accept his help and why she does not use him. The girl replies that it is because it is her business and she must decide everything herself. But the blonde screams that she is ready to accept help from everyone else. Leah then asks what about him, and why hasn't the guy asked for her help yet, to which he replies that it's because. But the girl interrupts him and claims that even though her body belongs to a noble lady, she is still the same Rose he knew. After which she also cries out that she knows more about the sea and naval war than anyone else, and he also tells her about this only now when the war has already broken out, without even asking her advice. After which the girl asks what right he has to complain. The young man then only turns to Ro and asks if she even knows how dangerous Nick is now. But Leah wonders if he really had information about Nick all this time, to which the guy replies that, yes, and he had it, after which the girl asks why he didn't tell her anything, to which he replies that she didn't ask. Leah is interested, told if he would have told her what she asked, and the guy answered what she would immediately left him and went, I would take revenge on Nick, after what he also extends his hand and says what will help her, so he asks her to wait until he returns. Well, what about the girl? Only knocks the guy's hand away and says, what then to him, you should just load Nick. You eternal sleep himself, because in this way he will be able to exclude any chance that she will go on a dangerous paths. The young lady also asks if he could do this and claims that then she would never see him again as long as she lives. Cadriel only says that she said it so easily, but for him it would be a fate similar to falling into eternal sleep. The girl says that his desire to protect her is certainly not so bad, but it sucks the soul out of her. The blonde then tells Ro that he once lost her and asks if she can even imagine how bitter it was for him those 4 years alone. Therefore he cannot allow himself such horror again, and also cannot just stand aside. The girl only remains silent after this. But then she claims that she understands his feelings, but he can't keep her locked up like this. At this point, the maid screams out to my lord and lady, and the main character asks what again, to which she replies that she is in a hurry to report that Lady Audrey has paid a visit to the castle, and she is asking about the young madam. A little while later, the girl enters the living room and the princess addresses her. She also claims that she should now be called Lady Monterosa and asks if that is so, but she sees that the last few weeks have been good for her, and the main character says that her ladyship too. After which, the girl claims that she did not come for this, but nevertheless, it is always nice to see a wonderful person again, especially after a long time. The main character then understands that this girl is talking about someone else's husband, and the blonde asks what brought her there without the crown prince, to which the girl replies that she heard that the summer hunting grounds of the imperial family are nearby. And Cutie Diego suggested going there when he heard that she was sad, so she decided to drop by on the way. The main character then asks if this is true and thinks why this girl couldn't just continue flirting with her husband. The blonde at this time claims that since her visit has no specific purpose, they ask to come another time because today they are busy, but the princess claims that in fact she has a reason. And Diego asked to pass on the message. The main character asks if she really has a message from the crown prince, to which the girl replies that yes. Well, she also asks what to do because she can't remember, and he told her to pass on something for Lady Leah. And maybe they will think long and hard, so the girl asks why she doesn't come to her tomorrow. And by that time, everything will probably be remembered, but she was going to invite them anyway, and asks if it wouldn't be wonderful. However, the Lord asks for forgiveness from Her Highness and claims that it won't be easy because his wife's condition is quite serious. The princess asks what about Diego's message, and the blonde guy replies that she can send it to them as soon as she remembers, but the main character says that this is very good and she will visit them tomorrow. She also understands that this is an obvious trap, but perhaps she will be able to gather information about Nika Cadriel, then says that Milady is still weak and should rest more. However, the girl claims that the crown prince sent her news, so how can one not accept the invitation? And even if it does not save Her Highness from boredom, the movie is a pretty good conversationalist. The princess then replies that the lady will certainly cope with the task at hand and then says goodbye. A little while later, she is already sitting at the table with Audrey and her husband, and says that as far as she understands, the lady came alone. But she didn't expect to see His Highness there. The guy then claims that his Audrey is afraid to be alone, so he immediately rushed there, and the main character says that she understands, and also asks if His Highness wanted to tell her something, after which the guy says that there is no need to rush, and they can discuss everything over a cup of this delicious tea. The girl then thinks, since when did they become so close to drink tea together? But then he thinks that he will drink it on the go and then get out. Well, then the girl suddenly notices that the tea smells strange. But if you think about it, the princess has already repeated the same movement several times, and these two are drinking something completely different. And if Audrey were an ordinary noble girl, such thoughts would not have visited her head. but there is definitely witchcraft involved. Even the crown prince has arrived, but she was too careless and she needs to find out what they are up to. So the young lady decides to pretend to be drunk and says how hot this tea is. The prince asks if everything is okay with Lady Leah, and she replies that her head is suddenly spinning. Audrey then asks if my lady is okay. After which the maid brings her another mug, and the princess tells her to drink it, because it should put her thoughts in order. However, the main character pretends that she can't even hold the mug in her hands, after which it falls and breaks. This tea also spills on the princess's dress, and she asks what it is, and the guy takes the handkerchief in his hands and claims that in any case, it seems to him that this girl has fallen under the influence of a spell. After which she wipes the princess's dress and addresses her as her mother. The main character is then shocked but doesn't show it, and the lady with purple hair says that although the girl only took a sip before spilling everything else. After which she takes out a needle and holds it to the girl's eye, but she doesn't react. The princess then says that yes, and this girl definitely fell under her spell, and the main character thinks that it was unexpected and she almost blinked. She also says that one sip is enough to form an addiction, and from now on this girl will constantly look for her, so that in the future they will start meeting more often. And a passing opportunity will definitely present itself if they remain vigilant. After which the guy agrees with his mother. Hey, she says that on Nick's side too, everything is going well, so there is nothing to worry about. And the woman claims that then all that remains for them is to get rid of the annoying rat that crawled into their path. A little while later, the main character already bursts into the Viscount's room, and he is a little surprised when he addresses Her Highness. Well, the girl after that only begins to undress, which makes the guy embarrassed. Then the young lady hands him the cloth and screams so that he will know what she drinks it from, but on the dress as well as who uses this tea and where it is produced and everything connected with it, because she needs as much information as possible. The guy then turns to the girl and asks, "What the hell is going on?" And she is even angry. Leah replies that it has a direct relation to those who decided to harm her, and that he should not forget to study this mystical act. The young man is only surprised after this and asks who did what to her, and the girl replies that it is something that has nothing to do with a living being, and it can rather be called not a living body. She also understands that this is a witch's patchwork body. A little while later, the blonde already turns to the young lady and asks if she is sleeping, and also says that the girl must be very tired because she has not even moved once. The main character is then a little surprised and claims that she thought she fell asleep in bed. The guy replies that he was going to leave her there, but she was all dirty and still in another man's clothes. To say something, but the guy replies that there is no need to explain anything, and it is enough that she returned home safe and sound, but he was so worried. After which the guy turns to Leah again and claims that he has something to tell her. The young man says that the privateers have become even more ferocious, so their departure date has been postponed and they are leaving the day after tomorrow, and he will be gone for about 20 days. The girl then says that the situation is urgent. The young man simply hands over the box and claims that he did not marry her to restrain her or lock her up, and that he is not going to get in her way, so let her take it. After which the guy opens the box and the girl sees a weapon there, and the blonde says that he hopes it will be useful during his absence. And also regarding all these battles, he asks if he can get some advice. The main character then smiles and claims that in fact she thought a little, and she too would not be hurt by a little help from him. And the girl also asks if there is anyone among his people who is watching her, after which she says that let this person continue. But let Cadriel also know that if this man approaches her within 2 meters, he will fall into eternal sleep. The young man then only reaches out to the girl, and she claims that it doesn't matter how well he behaves, but no means no, and the guy says that everything is fine and he will also tell him and thanks Ro. The girl then says that she is going to find Nick, and then deal with him at all costs, and as he said, it is dangerous. So if this is so, then she will not allow interference. The blonde is silent after this. The young lady wishes him a fair wind. And she tells him to remember that if he gets even one scratch, she will put him into a gentle sleep, to which the guy replies that he understands and asks her not to get hurt either. A little while later, the girl is already training with swords, and her teacher knocks the weapon out of her hands and also states that it seems that she is having a hard time concentrating today and asks if she is worried about Cadriel. The young lady then replies that she is not at all. However, the guy replies that it's all written on her face, and the young lady realizes that she never thought she would worry so much about Cadriel, and the teacher at this time says that what's more important is about that liquid. Did she drink it by accident? Leah replies that it was just a sip, and the guy screams in shock. Did she really drink it? After which he claims that this liquid is a drug and hands her an antipharmacon. The young man also says that the use of this substance leads to a temporary shutdown of the mind, and in the past, witches also used it for their witchcraft. Apparently, this drug is highly addictive and thirsty, after which the guy also asks if Madam is okay because it is best to err on the side of caution. The girl replies that it is still strange, but it did not affect her in any way, and the guy asks if she wants to say that after drinking it, she did not experience clouding of consciousness or any other side effects. The girl replies that everything is correct and nothing happened, and also thinks that if the drug is really so powerful, then her body should have reacted somehow, after which she thinks, what went wrong? Owen only says that thank God she is safe and sound. And now he claims that one bottle of this drink contains 60 salts, which surprises the girl, after which she screams that he is a dirty swindler. The guy then asks if he is really a swindler, claiming that on the contrary, he made a lot of effort to get this antitoxin. He also claims that the potential poisoning of the girl alarmed him so much that he informed everyone about it in order to get the thing for her. But the girl then screams that this is bullshit and asks why he did it. The young man at this time only remembers how the girl thanked him and claims that perhaps she does not remember because she lost her memory. But once they were both very close, Leah asks if he is even pretending now, and also claims that she does not mind falling for his bait. But let the guy just know that she is going to tell Cadriel everything to the last when he returns. The girl also says that she is interested in how he is doing, and Owen suggests that her ladyship not to worry because Cadriel will return safe and sound. And the lady is very worried, so he asks why they don't end today's lesson here. But the girl then replies that no, and also with Cadriel gone, she has to work harder than ever. The guy then just smiles, and also says that Lady Leah has become bolder, which can't help but please him, and in that case he won't hold back. A little while later, the young lady is already sitting at her desk, and in shock asks if the guy really wants to say that Nick is now leading the privateer fleet and kidnapping people. The young man replies that yes, and mostly orphans, and also they will not avoid problems in the future when it will be. However, the girl interrupts him and knocks on the table, after which she calls Nick crazy. The young man then says that regardless of how the lady looks at it, everything seems suspicious. And just when the Admiral and his son were sent to pacify the privateers, well, the girl claims that these privateers are led by an agent of the prince, and Nick, after which she asks in shock if such an outcome is possible, and also remembers how the princess claimed that all that remains for them is... This is to get rid of that annoying rat that keeps getting underfoot, after which the young lady asks how far Melvin has come in fulfilling her request. The guy replies that all that remains is to find a weapon and asks the captain what is going on. And the girl replies that she has a bad feeling and better hurry, after which the guy claims that one woman told him to give her a letter, but it is empty. He brought it anyway, and it probably could mean something to the captain. The girl then says that this is not just a blank parchment, and the woman who gave this piece of paper to the guy is not a person. The young man then asks in shock if she was really a ghost, and the girl then puts the letter in her tea and it turns into water. It says that the girl should go to the sea because there she can get hints from another witch. Melvin is only surprised after that, and it also says that the girl should use this potion. And she used it before, so she knows everything herself. The young lady then turns to Melvin and tells him to take care of this matter because not a drop should spill from him, and also let him inform Anna about this. After which the girl also claims that she wants to drink tea with Lady Audrey only alone. The blonde is on the ship at this time, and someone asks how things are at sea. To which he replies that the wind is strong, but not strong enough to cause problems, and that the border is expected to be reached in 3 days, to which his father asserts that this is good. And so far they have been operating covertly, so it is necessary to remain vigilant. At this point, someone else turns to the Admiral and tells him to just take a look. All along their course, a suspicious vessel has been detected, and he thinks they should see for themselves. The main character is sitting with the princess a little while later. The maid pours tea for the two, and the princess asks Her Highness to tell her what prompted her to turn to her in the first place. The girl then replies that she enjoyed the tea they had last time and asks if she can enjoy it again. The purple-haired lady then asks if she is desperate, to which the young lady replies that she is, and since she drank it, she can't get the scent out of her head and also feels very thirsty and wants to drink some more of this tea. The young lady realizes that by pretending to be addicted to this poison, she will make the princess think that everything is going according to plan. And such behavior will allow to avoid suspicions and also to lull Audrey's vigilance. The girl at this time asks if they could talk alone for a minute, and the main character thinks that this is good because now she just needs to drink tea with fizzy drinks, after which she calls the maid back and they are left alone, and the princess claims that she got this tea with such difficulty and no one else has it well if her light desires it. The main character is watching the girl at this time and mentally asks her to take at least a sip. At this time the clock is ticking, and then the princess finally drinks this tea and also claims that she will gladly treat her again. Well, as soon as the girl puts down the mug, she freezes in place, and the main character thinks that she is caught, after which the girl turns over the sand scales and asks the princess who she really is and why the prince calls her mom. To which she replies that he calls her that because she gave birth to him, and the main character asks what she is talking about because his mother fell into eternal sleep immediately after giving birth, and she wonders how she ended up in her place. The woman replies that she moved into this body as a result of her own immersion in eternal sleep, and the transmigration of the soul is a fairly common act for witches. The main character then asks if she wants to say that she is a witch, to which the woman replies that everything is correct. Well, she also says that she is tired of moving between bodies in this way, that is why she needs the young lady's help. The main character then asks if she is talking about Leah's body, to which the girl replies that yes, it will live forever, is surprised by this, and the princess claims that she originally planned to enter this vessel after the disappearance of the soul and the completion of the purification period, which lasts 100 days, but another one had already managed to settle inside. Rosetta then asks if it can be considered that it plunged Leah into eternal sleep, but the woman claims that she only took her soul, and the main character at this time looks at the clock and understands that it is high time, after which she wonders what happened to Cadriel, and also was the order given to him by the prince to deal with the privateers real, after which the princess only smiles and claims that of course it was a trap, and she wants to take the girl's body, but this annoying rat continues to interfere. Her watch again, and also understands that her time is running out, and she also needs to find out how to save Cadriel, but this is also the only chance to find out something about Nick. After which the girl thinks about all this, but still screams for the girl to tell her how to save Cadriel, to which the princess replies that it is impossible because his ship must have already been shattered into pieces. At this time, the last grains of sand drip from the watch, and numerous shells fly at the Lord's ship. The boy then screams for the wounded to be put on the lifeboats. At this time, someone else turns to the sir and says that he must hurry up and get on board himself because the ship is about to sink. But the blonde replies that he will sit in the last one, after which he screams for the guy to hurry and take care of his father and the wounded. However, at that very moment, another shell flies at him, and the guy seeing this only calls the name of Rosewater time grains of sand on the clock fall. The princess at the same moment comes to her senses, and when she sees the main character dejected, she asks if Madam is okay. The girl then answers that yes, let her, even the thought of this tea makes her tremble. The princess then claims that his taste constantly returns to his memory, and asks if this is true, and also tells the young lady not to worry, because she will immediately inform her about his replication as soon as she gets busy with it. The main character then thanks her and asks her to definitely contact her. A little while later, she is already rushing to Melvin with all her might, and also asks how close to readiness the ship is. That she requested. The guy is then only surprised and at first does not understand what she is talking about. After which he claims that the interior needs to be fully equipped, and the girl only swears and also screams at him to hurry up because they don't have time, and let them get ready to weigh anchor as soon as possible because time is running out and they have to sail tomorrow. The guy then asks if they really have to sail away tomorrow and it's so unexpected, but the girl says that they should just do everything necessary and also use as many souls as necessary because she is going to ask for a naval carrier pigeon. At this time, the maid runs up to the lady, and the lady screams that she has terrible news and that the warship has returned to port, and they say that it is broken into pieces and the Admiral is unconscious. Lord Cadriel is missing. A little while later, someone screams for a gurney to be brought there and the wounded soldiers are taken away. The main character only looks at all this in horror, after which everyone screams for Cadriel. The young lady also turns to one of the knights and claims that they were on the same ship with Lord Cadriel, after which she asks where he is. Well, the guy only bows and cries out that he is sorry. And he also stayed on board until the last minute to assess the condition of the wounded, but the ship was hit by a bomber. The young lady then goes into shock and claims that she must tell them to send out a search party immediately. But at that very moment, someone screams to block the port because they received an order to block the port, and from that moment on, all ships are prohibited from entering or leaving. The young lady then only screams, "Is this really a blockade?" Then he claims that Lord Cadriel is still at sea, and sending a search party is not enough, so she asks how they can talk about a blockade. But the guy says that anyway they have their own orders, and the main character asks who gives these orders. After all, the Admiral and his son are both missing. The young man then replies that the Crown Prince appointed a temporary admiral, and he was the one who. However, the young lady then only cries out how it could happen that the temporary admiral was already appointed, and the news of the disappearance only arrived today. The guy replies that since this mission was so dangerous, His Highness wanted to prepare in case everything went wrong. But the young lady screams that this is complete nonsense and that they should immediately send out a search party. The knight then says that the acting admiral thinks that at the moment it is not easy, and in 2 days a great storm should break out. Therefore, he asks the lady to return home and if they receive any news about her husband. But after that, the girl only goes somewhere and swears at the prince. The knight at this time asks where the lady is going, but the girl does not listen to him and only goes forward.